It's the White Noise Podcast from Visual House Studios, motherfucker.
Oh gosh,
yeah. So Fast and Furious, you liked it? We don't have to review it because I don't think none of us have seen it, right?
Yeah. Nah, we go. I'm gonna review it on Law.
Yeah,
I have not seen. I think the last Fast and Furious I saw was honestly like Fast and Furious 3. To be honest,
it got so much better after that.
Hell no.
Yeah, it did. Come on, baby.
It peaked at 5. It peaked at 5.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
No,
that's what I hear.
No,
it peaked at 5.
Seven.
Five was.
Seven's the last one I hear. That's
7.
decent.
7 was its peak, and then after that, it was like, okay, look,
7.
Man, I have trouble telling the difference between these movies.
Yeah, this point,
I feel you. I totally feel you on that. I don't disagree.
Because it's all the same characters now.
But I love it.
But I do know that like a lot, or at least from the trailer, like this Fast 10 looks a lot like Fast 5.
I don't. Yeah. Because it's based off of Fast 5.
Yeah.
But all these other ones are based off of Fast 5.
No, but
this one like stems from Fast 5.
Jason Momoa's character is directly affected by the ending of 5.
He's the son of somebody from Fast 5.
Correct. But they've done that already.
Yeah, but you know,
like, bro,
it's like you ain't lying, but
I don't know.
Nah, but
John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother.
See, and when the hell did John Cena pop up?
Are you serious?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I didn't know
what.
Yeah,
is Vin Diesel's brother? Yes. Well, not in real life.
No, yeah,
that's the one that
pitch.
I'm like, what is that family?
Dead.
They brothers in wrestling, man. You know, they just wanted to wrestle each other.
They Ring brothers. Ring brothers.
Crazy.
Well, and that's what I think both Vin and Dwayne have in their contracts that they can't lose. Well, or actually, it's in Dwayne's. But I think since Vin was like the head runner, he didn't want to lose. So that's why in Fast 5, when they fight, like even though Dwayne's like 2 feet taller than Vin, like none of them they're just like equalizing each other out, like or canceling each other out.
It's a superhero
Vin
franchise.
Diesel is Dominican who has a white brother,
right?
And a Mexican girlfriend. They have a kid and they have a black kid.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
But Dominicans are black, so
they show the kid.
Yeah, but
Dominicans are black. This is true.
Vin
Diesel is actually black.
Vin Diesel is
black.
black.
I'm talking about his pigments
in real life.
Wait, he's black in real life?
Yeah, he's half black.
Yes, he's black in real life.
I did not know that.
If you look at a younger picture, it's more obvious when he's younger. He has an afro and everything.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm talking about like his pigment between him and Michelle Rodriguez. I'm like, okay. Y'all want to do that?
He's bright skinned for sure.
He's definitely brown.
I guess Michelle Rodriguez is a little toasty.
Isn't he? He's like black and Italian or something like that.
Yeah.
Yo, I learned something today. I did not know he was black.
It's okay. I only learned that like 5 years ago.
You know what's so crazy?
Respect on Groot.
Yeah.
He made a whole short film on it, like back in the day in the 90s. Talking about essentially what his live life experience was being acted, being polyethnic. Yeah.
Right. That's crazy. I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
There's scenes
on
like YouTube and stuff.
Whoa!
And he doesn't deny his blackness. At least that's what I'm like. Okay, you cool. You cool.
I never knew. I guess. I
don't
know. But then again, like I don't be checking for Vin Diesel like that for me to like know facts.
Oh, that's
about
my
him.
boy. That's my childhood, right?
He's a legend, bro.
Yeah.
No, we know more about Vin Diesel than you.
Apparently.
Shoot, man.
Y'all going to the VD club tonight?
VD.
Vin Diesel.
Well, I'm sorry, that flew way over my head. But yo, we got a special guest.
We do.
We got if y'all haven't noticed by now, man.
Go to the Vin Diesel down to our guest.
Yeah, we got the very, very, very talented, multi-talented. I might add, multi-talented. Because when I heard that you voiced Captain Zero, I was like, "Yo, that's dope. That is dope to voice a character you created. Like, who knows the character better than you?"
Straight up though.
It's so crazy. I didn't intend for that to happen, but it happened that way.
It'd
crazy
be like
story.
That. It'd be like I use the title very, very loosely, but like I like to consider myself a filmmaker too, and I have made a short film where I did not intend to be in it twice. And he said twice. It's just I have very flaky people around me.
Yeah.
But
you do it out of necessity.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, like I need to get this thing done. So hey, if no one else will do it, let me just do it.
Right?
Exactly.
Step
I mean,
up.
all of us have, except Kyrie, he's new to the group, but like we all have a short film where there's it's a haunted house, and we there's this like demon ghost in it, and the person who was supposed to play the ghost flaked on us, so all of us alternated. Damn. The ghost, and we're all different body types. So I mean, luckily it was. Wow. Luckily, it's like a parody. Yeah. So it just made
so it works.
It made 100% sense. But yeah, it's like one is like wider than the other. One is like much taller than the other, and it's like different scenes, even though they're seconds apart. I mean, they were filmed on different days. It's just different people playing and it just worked. So. Let's welcome to amazing. White Noise, Lamard Cher-Aime.
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Let's do this. You know, before we dive in, I want to talk about my week last week, if that's all right. Okay.
Talk about it.
Go ahead.
So I went on a little vacation. You know,
never mind. Don't talk about
it. Man,
I'm playing, dog.
I took my little one over to Disneyland, you know, go have some fun. You know what I'm saying? And anybody who knows me, I'm a pretty big Disney fan.
You're
right?
a Disney adult.
I'm not. I'm definitely not
you
a Disney
are.
adult. No, I'm not.
I was about to say.
Nope.
Wait. Why is that an insult? Like genuinely.
Disney adult enter the chat.
No.
Why is that?
A Disney adult is being
don't
like
let him lie to you.
It's being like an anime kid. Where all you do is eat, breathe, like you don't shower, you just oh my god, fuck, you know, for like
except now you're supposed to have a career and like
it's just
have a
like
sustainable life.
It's your personality.
Yeah,
it's your whole personality.
All your money
gross.
goes to Disney products.
It's not. No. I have zero issue telling you when Disney fucks up and when they drop some garbage. Versus a Disney adult will never. Ever.
Oh, they'll defend that to the core.
Yeah.
Okay. For sure.
I will tell you when something they drop or a ride opens and that shit is whack. I will tell you that.
Okay.
But I do enjoy it. I mean, me and my girl used to go to Disney every other month. We had annual passes for years.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like we love it. I mean, for me, like growing up, my dream was to like work for Disney. Like I wanted to write and make their next big animated movie.
Yeah.
I wanted to design. I still want to design like their next big e-ticket attraction or their next big nighttime spectacular show. Like that was my dream as a kid. So like going over there, I didn't see it really as vacation. I saw it as like I'm studying. Like I'm looking at
like a business trip.
Exactly. Like why does this ride work? Why is this show so dope? Why is this? Why is that? You know? And so that and also like I just genuinely have fun when I go over there.
Yeah.
But the older I get, the more I realize why people hate Disneyland so much.
What? No, white people love them some Disneyland
because of the people that go.
It's just, well, fuck, where do I start? First of all, I mean, what Disneyland has become post-pandemic is
you're gonna make me hella sad.
Pretty shameful. Like, it's nothing, it's an EA game. Like, it's paid to do anything. Really, you either
it's a soulless cash grab.
Exactly, cash grab.
Like there's no more fast passes.
There's no more fast passes.
Get the app, which costs money.
Yes, it's $25 per person per day.
Yeah,
to have access to fast passes that you are not guaranteed to get. Mind you.
Oh, wow.
So is it like a membership thing you sign up for?
No, it's a feature within their app that you pay for.
So it's like you're in a queue to get a fast pass.
No, so what it is like you have to have your ticket scanned into the park to even purchase this feature. So you can't cheat and get at the hotel, right?
Right.
Once you get in, you buy it for $25. And all the rides that used to have fast passes are in there, and you can book essentially a fast pass. Like it'll tell you what time. So like let's say like I get into the park, I want to get a fast pass for Space Mountain. So I go in there, it'll tell me a return time. I'll select it, and then it's mine. I just got to show up at that time, and you have an hour window, right?
Got you.
But for new and popular attractions such as the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, the Cars ride, the Radiator Springs Racers, the new Spider-Man ride, and now the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, right? Those are extra. So that's another, if it's a busy day, because there's tiers, right? If it's a busy day, that's another $20, $25 for that one ride.
And you need it.
And I didn't buy that shit.
But I mean, like, otherwise you're not getting on.
Oh, if you want to get on with a wait that's under an hour, you need it. You need it. So like when Rise of the Resistance first opened, I went for the first time. I bought it because I'm like, I'm not sitting here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't. It was like a 20, 30 minute wait. So very worth it.
I feel it.
It was $18, but it was worth it. But I never did it again. I knew I wasn't going to. If I wanted to ride that ride, I was just going to wait in line.
Yeah.
Which I did. I waited. It was a 70-minute wait. I waited for
That's
that.
That's not
bitch.
that bad.
Oh,
It's not considering that the ride itself is a 20 to 30-minute experience. Like,
oh wow,
it's two
so
different
it's a
ride
for real
vehicles.
show.
Yeah, it's two different
wow.
ride vehicles you have to board.
That's dope, actually.
You know, without spoiling it. I mean, like, you know, there's just ton of different elements that makes it worth that wait.
You know, I will say that the Imagineers, they do a pretty good job of like making the line entertaining.
Yeah. You know, like Indiana Jones, I waited in that line too. It was like a 50-minute wait, but I like waiting in that line because
all the Easter eggs,
and it's just you really feel like you're in an ancient temple, you know, and like there's danger all around you. The sound effects, like, it's super dope.
Yeah,
and Indiana Jones is king. I love me some Indiana Jones.
I feel it.
You know, so like I'm just such a big fan. Like I'll wait and I feel so immersed, right? But so that's reason number one. It's just a cash grab. You know, and that Genie Pass, the Lightning Lane, it doesn't work when it's that busy. Because what ends up happening is all the time slots get booked up. Next thing I know, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to go ride Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain's booking for 4:30 in the afternoon, so that's a 5-hour like time where I can't do shit.
Dang.
And if I book that time, I have to wait 2 hours before I could book something else.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
damn.
So you can't do like, you can't just fast pass your whole day.
No, you can if it's slower. It works better for days that's not so busy because it's either 2 hours or when your time comes. So like, let's say at 11 o'clock, I'm booking for 12 o'clock, right?
Right.
At 12 o'clock, I can book something else. If I'm booking for 3 o'clock, at 1 o'clock, I can book something else.
Gotcha.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, and then inflation has just made all the food, everything just go way up.
I would
Right?
imagine.
Oh man,
Turkey legs are now $30, huh?
Nah, them hoes like $13.
Oh,
Man,
shoot.
I need one.
Wait, so they didn't have all the?
I'll buy that shit every time.
My dad does too. He's
They didn't
like,
have
give me
all
them
the
turkey
e shit
legs.
before the pandemic.
All the what?
No.
Oh,
They were going that way, but no, it wasn't like how it is now.
No, the last thing they did was they came up with something called Max Pass, and that was $10 a day per person. And if you had an annual pass like I did, it came included,
Oh,
so it was worth it.
yeah.
And it was dope because it eliminated. There was still free fast pass, mind you.
Yeah.
Right, but it was harder to get a decent time if you didn't buy it because people could book from their phones. That was the whole gimmick behind it. Photos come included, all your ride photos come
And I
included.
think that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're already paying that extra.
and,
So yeah.
and you have the ability to book whatever, right?
Right.
And I loved it. It worked well. I loved it. Then they got rid of it, and then had to make all the money back from being closed for 2 years, right? And
real.
yeah, so there's that. I mean, and people smell like shit. It's
Well, it's hot. You know.
it's hot. You got these big ass motherfuckers walking around. You know they tired at the end of the day. They just go to bed and wake up at 6 o'clock the next morning and do it all over again.
That's crazy.
Bro, I was walking behind this family, man. Bro, it was truffle butter galore, bro.
Oh,
Shit was
come
nasty.
on.
Stop.
It was so nasty.
Bro, come on, man. You ain't got to take it there, baby.
And a lot of these lines are like you gotta get really compact.
I
So
know.
you just sniffing everybody. It's fucking nasty.
They didn't have like the spray fans on or nothing like that, man.
They do. It's like the
Wasn't
ride
it-
is
it was
outdoors.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it cold?
It was cold. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't
cold
sunny?
when I went. It was the first day, but then
That sounds
like,
hella depressing.
All
got
I gotta
kinda cloudy.
okay, like my family and I we're gonna go like the first week of July to LA. If we do go to Disneyland,
Don't.
What's if we
Get the
No,
app.
I'm telling you, don't. It's
no,
not gonna be worth it.
I just no.
Man,
It's not gonna be my choice. If they want to, all right, whatever. Like if I do go, if a strong if. What is one ride that outside of Space Mountain that I have to check out?
Rise of the Resistance.
I knew you was gonna say that, and I was hoping you were gonna say that. Cool.
I like
But-
Star Wars.
Experiences.
Oh, dude, I like Star Wars,
feel it.
but I don't go crazy over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not about to get mad if you name the wrong species of
no,
what Darth
of
Maul
course.
is.
I can't even fucking name what that motherfucker is.
Some people be like that though.
I just think he's the Insidious guy.
How we talked about like Disney making the lines like entertaining,
right?
Like the cast members that work on that ride, like it is like 100% role playing.
Yeah, they are
That's
acting.
dope.
They are acting. For
That's
sure.
dope. Yeah.
So they treat you like a rebel. And like,
Oh,
they
that's
treat
cool.
you like they treat you like shit because they are the first order.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, and you are with the resistance, so
Right.
they treat
I've
you
seen
like
videos
shit.
where they're
That's
like
cool.
back in line, scum, or some shit.
Yeah,
like
or
that.
like if you're confused as to where to go, like they tell you like how many here. Okay, you're going on blue. If you go to the wrong one, they're like, "Do you not know your colors?"
yeah.
Oh,
like
that's cool.
yeah, and they're like, "I told you to get over there." And I get over there, right? Like it's
Right.
it's fucking cool.
That's cool.
I saw Kylo Ren's a dick too sometimes.
Yeah. I would say that ride for Disneyland.
Guardians, he'll enjoy Guardians.
Guardians is fun. You like drop rides and all that?
Like the straight up and just no, I can't.
No,
do
but
that.
this
Guardians throws you down and then it shoots. So there's a lot of zero gravity moments because you get tossed up and down. It's just free fall. I don't like those kind of rides.
I
Guardians scares the
normally
shit out of me,
don't.
but I ain't no punk, so I
No,
get on it.
I can't ride Drop Zone, but like Tower of Terror back in the day was like one of my favorite rides.
Tower of Terror is the only one that I can do.
It's
Well,
the same
it's
thing.
the ride. That's
it's just
what
reskinned.
it just became Guardians of the Galaxy now.
Okay. Well, when you put it like that,
And then,
I might try it. I need me a
Radiator
funnel cake.
Springs. You got to go
Yeah,
there, like, right
Radiator
when it
Springs
opens.
races
So
is fire.
Okay.
that's got to be
Yeah.
like the first ride you got to like run.
Damn, I'm trying to ride that Incredibles ride.
The Incredicoaster is sick. Too.
Yeah, but you
Incredicoaster.
can, dude. You can
Cause
get
there used to be California Screaming, right?
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
that's what.
That was my favorite ride on the whole park.
Yeah. So those are reasons. Also, I'm aging like milk. Let's be honest.
Man.
Like I used to be able to do these parks. I used to get up at 6 a.m, stay till they close at midnight, and get up and do it all over again. Right,
Dang.
bro. The last day, my ankles were in excruciating pain.
Yeah.
Bro, I could not even have fun.
Because
Like,
let's be real, you're probably realistically walking conservatively 10 miles a day.
bro,
Conservatively,
so much.
yeah. So I
And-
mean,
It's also your like part of it is when you're younger. Yeah, you're younger, but you're also running on different type of adrenaline that just carries you out throughout the
real.
day. And now you got a kid and you got to worry about her adrenaline.
Yeah. You know,
That makes sense.
I mean, I'm also I'm also
getting carried and stuff.
yeah,
exactly.
and I'm also like a little heavier, you know, and like I'm just the next day, like I had like shockwaves coming up my calf, like bro, like I'm fucked
I get
up.
one of them electric things, bro.
Nah.
Put Sophia in the basket.
Hell
he
no.
don't need that.
Hell no,
His
dude.
leg is just hanging out.
No, man. Like
wrong, Isaac.
I'm just,
Oh man.
I'm cool going once a year now.
Yeah.
Like before, I'd be hella sad. Like I'd be like leaving, and I'd be like, I gotta wait a whole 2 months to see you again, baby.
That's
but
crazy.
Now I'm be like, bro, peace out.
Like
So
I'll
now-
see y'all
Hit
when
me.
I see you.
What's the fastest way back to the hotel?
So the
I
app
feel you.
Fast Pass isn't worth it on a busy day.
on a busy ass day. Now, if you're
So,
gonna be there when the park opens, if you're there at rope drop, it could be worth it because you.
It sounds like it's more worth it for if it's like your first time going, rather than if you go.
and that's why
occurring.
I go for 3 days, because the first day I'm go right. Let's knock out as much as we can. The second day I go to California Adventure. That park is small. You can do even if it's busy.
You can do everything
in
in a
one
day. Yeah.
And the third day I go back to Disneyland and I'm chilling because
Yeah.
I'm just it's just like
Walk around,
whatever I
you're like, oh, I
didn't
wanted
get
to
to
eat
go
that.
on, I'm gonna prioritize that.
Right.
I'm gonna go shopping. I'm gonna go eat. You know, I'm gonna
That
do
makes
all them
sense.
things, all the characters. I'll do that the last day.
Right.
You know,
Get
but
your
yeah,
auto-
it's just
Graph book filled.
yeah, you know, and
I
I'm
feel
just
it.
like, bro, I'm tired. I'm still tired, bro. I've been back for 2 days.
You'll never be seeing those celebrities there.
I saw Jessica Alba once there.
There.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was there at the same time as 2 of the Kardashians one time. I didn't see them bitches, but I was there.
You know, they was in the tunnels underground.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, you're
You know,
right.
they were in the
probably.
fucking tunnels underground.
no,
probably.
I only knew they were there because
The cast
I've-
members are walking.
no.
Like, cat-
I
the
seen it
Disney
on
catacombs.
Instagram. Like when I
Yeah, you told me
yeah,
about
I
that.
seen it on
yeah.
Instagram. Like, oh, what the fuck, they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I don't care, bro.
They're over there in the
Cringe.
fucking Radiator Springs cars, right? It's not my fault, not my fault. Courtney's over there.
It actually happens more often than you think.
Oh yeah, it does.
Like-
yeah, It just depends on the celebrity, how secretive they want to be.
Yeah.
You know.
And some celebrities, low key, you got to look at them to realize it's a celebrity. Some of them from like a side profile. Like if I saw Rainn Wilson from the side, I'd be like, that's just a fucking person. Until I saw him like head on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people just be blending in.
That is. Yeah, man, that is the thing with like celebrities when you actually meet them in real life. Like it's so weird because it's like your brain gets trained to only view them through the screen, and when you actually see them in real life, sometimes it's actually like hard to recognize. Like it takes like a double take. You got to look at them dead on or be real close to be like, oh shit, you're so and so.
Right.
Yeah. They call it like Starshock or. Starstruck?
Yeah, but I'll be like not shy. I don't like to approach celebrities.
You don't want to be
like,
that guy.
You feel like everyone bothers them. They're always being bothered.
Yeah,
and they're on vacation.
Like, I'm not trying to be another weirdo. Facts. Yeah, it's like they're trying to be a person. Like I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that person. That's like oh my god.
They're literally trying to have a good time with their kids. Like
exactly. Like I didn't go up to Jessica Alba. Like she surprisingly had no security. Like it was her and her kid. And then there was like a couple other moms like with her.
Right.
There was one cast member, but he was standing off to the side.
Yeah.
You know, and people just left her alone. Like she was just low key. Like she wasn't attracting too much. I was like, I respect it. Like I see you. I'm over here though, but I see you over there. You know,
that's what I hear about celebrities too, though. Just from like the perspective of some, it's like honestly, you really only get that attention if you. I mean, naturally, some people it's like you can't even step outside. Yeah. Like if Michael Jackson went to Disneyland, obviously it's like oh crap.
I mean, if Beyonce hits Disneyland,
right? It's like oh snap. But for the most part, from what I heard, it's like you don't really get that super amount of attention unless you're just being.
Unless you're doing something that kind of garners
exactly
that,
like you know what you're doing pretty much if you get that attention.
If you're trying to be low key, I feel like most people for the most part kind of respect that. They kind of see it and acknowledge and they're like, oh, you're trying to just exist. Let me give you the common courtesy.
Exactly.
Well, Logic said I think it was like on Tiger Belly, but he said that he doesn't mind when people come up to him, but if he's having like a conversation like with his wife or something about their kid, it's like that's when he doesn't want to be bothered. Some people just like to go up to him and just be like, hey, can I get a photo and just walk away? And he says like that doesn't bother me, but like when someone just comes up to him, when someone comes up to him and just like says, hey, I just wanted to shake your hand and meet you. He says like that's the best thing ever because it's like that's cool. You're not taking a photo, you're not like there to fucking post it and shit. Right. Or like he says like even asking for an autograph, like asking for an autograph is like way more like respectful or almost like powerful. Like it means more to them than taking a photo because you want my autograph and I know you're not gonna I don't know fucking post it on the internet or whatever. So that's probably what I would do. I'd probably just like give him a Christian Bale ass head nod like I never see you motherfucker or like go up to them like I just want to say nice to meet you and whatnot. Give him a handshake and walk away.
I think the only person that I would like walk up and say something to is Tim Shantan Drangsu. that Timothy De La Ghetto. But he doesn't go by that anymore because they always like he has a YouTube page that like he goes to like all these different parks and tries food.
Oh yeah.
And, like one of the run-on jokes is like because he does it with his friend, and people only recognize him, and so he'll like disappear and like be in the background like taking pictures, and the other dude's just like talking shit. He's like, oh, they only know Tim because he's an asshole, and but it's.
Bad, but he's been around for a while though.
Yeah,
he's pretty recognizable.
He's a cool ass dude.
Wilding out.
Yeah. No, but even before that, he was on YouTube. Really big on YouTube. Yeah.
Hey man, was Emmanuel
Hudson? No?
Yeah,
that fool's funny as fuck too.
Just how we the booty.
Yeah, but that's my Disneyland rant, man. I'm just saying, man. Like, it's fun. I'll never turn down a trip to Disneyland, but I'm just not like actively plotting my next return anymore. Like, I'm just like, yo.
So if I'm like,
hey, tired.
After the show, we out.
My calf still hurt, my God.
So you turn it down.
Would you ever make your own lightsaber?
No.
Oh, isn't it like $200?
Yes.
I have to.
I'm not doing
I have to as well, but I don't fuck.
For what though? Like I'm just what am I gonna do?
Because it's more than just a lightsaber. It's like a well done ass fucking lightsaber.
Yeah. And it's
the experience, exactly. Yeah. And you get to pick your crystal.
Yeah, right.
Just
and the helm.
Get a wand at Universal.
The hell
experience.
Well, that's true. I'd probably I don't know.
Oh, I think you can do more stuff with the wand.
Like you can actually use it in the park.
Yeah.
The lightsaber, you got to close it up before you get on the ride. You can't even. What are you gonna do with it?
Wait, what wand?
Keep it for the Harry Potter shit.
Oh,
yeah. But even then, like I said, like I like Harry Potter, but I'm not hella like into it. You know, like I'm not like I can't name every character,
bro. Every time I go to Universal, like I just like it's like the tour, and then like everything else. I'm just like Disney is so much like head and shoulders above like
they are.
In terms of what, like engagement,
like
and entertainment?
The rides. I mean, just
and like
the
experience,
rides.
like yeah.
Universal has potential. In Florida, they're doing it much better than they are here.
Yeah,
Well,
I will
because
say
they've got
that.
Coasters.
They got coasters, but I mean, just their rides, like it just looks just better taken care of than it does here, which is sad because this is like you're in Hollywood. Like, what the fuck?
I
I feel like Hollywood is visually better, and Disneyland is like physically better because they do a lot more screen shows.
Yeah,
rather than
most of the rides at Universal are like
Screen based,
there's a screen you put on 3D goggles and it's just like moving.
Honey,
But
I
I
Shrunk the
dig that
Kids.
though
They still
personally.
got that.
But
That's the last thing I.
That's just me.
Damn, it's been a while then.
Literally, just
Bugs
me.
Life.
I was gonna say, I Shrunk the Kids.
They had that in 4D. That in Bugs Life.
Yeah, son.
I remember.
Ancient.
I remember they spray canned. You know, like because we're small, so they sprayed us with like bug spray, and they fucking put out some smell in the theater. I think it was like coffee. That shit gave me an instant headache. I remember the whole day in the park. I'm like, fuck, bro. What the fuck was that? I actually
You a
got
whole ass bug, bro.
Me and Joel had this
poisoned.
conversation, but I hate when they poke you in the back.
I
remember
shit.
that.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
That shit
I
hurt.
hated that. Yeah.
That shit hurt.
Or
man.
when you going over, what is it called? California gliding or whatever.
Soaring over California.
Soaring over California, and you go over the oranges, and then they fucking throw orange zest in the air.
Yeah.
That shit's gas. Do they still have that?
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
Is it?
It's
soaring
sort of
over
the
the
world
now.
Yeah.
That's booty sweat.
How?
I mean, it's still a dope experience.
It's,
I
I, like it
California.
better more than California.
I like California.
I like
Yeah.
California too, but the ride's better. All right, man. Well, that's my Disneyland. Man. So let's get into our special guest, man. Like, where do we even start? Where do we even start? Let's start at the beginning. How did this all come together?
Man, depends on what you're asking. How did Captain Zero come together, or how
let's
does
just
an
start-
artist come together?
Let's just do how did you as an artist come together? Like how did that like when was that moment when you were like, I want to make cartoons?
Oh, we got to take it all the way back then. It
Let's
started
do it.
very,
Yeah,
very,
let's
very,
do it.
very early for me.
Way back.
Yeah, it started very early for me. I was 5 years old. I was in a Head Start program that my mom had put me in. And, you know, I'd always loved drawing. I'd always loved art. Like, I grew up, at that time, I was living in Miami. I grew up around my cousins who were, like, super, super talented artists. I remember the thing that I loved the most about my cousins is that, like, we used to love watching, you know, Toonami, Cartoon Network, all the cartoon shows. But Cartoon Network was really, really, like, our main thing. And we loved Dragon Ball Z. And the things that my cousins could do that always blew me away is they could draw the characters. Like, and I remember just how mind blown I was that they could accurately recreate what I was looking at on TV.
Oh, heck
and
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, like this is so sick. Like, I want to learn how to draw like them. So I just became super, super obsessed with just drawing and creating. And I remember when I was in my Head Start program, we had to do this daily journal thing where every day we were given like an assignment, a little prompt to do, and we had to like write a sentence and then accompany it with a drawing. And that was basically like my first kind of playground into really structuring and creating art that kind of way. And I remember the feedback that I was getting from my teacher was so positive. And me and like my spouse talk about this all the time. I'm all like, you know, as an artist, as any kind of creative, it's so important to get that positive feedback really early, because honestly, it was that positive feedback that made me want to keep going. Like every single time my teacher came over and she looked at like, you know, my drawing, she was like, oh my gosh, like class, look at this. Like she would raise my journal, she would show everybody. And I was like, oh shit, like I must be pretty onto something. I must be, you know, pretty good. You know, so like, yeah, like she was gassing me. Like she really made me feel like, yo, like your stuff is really, really good. So that really put the battery in my back to just want to continue. And from there, it just continued to just grow and blossom. I remember in middle school and even early elementary school, like I would use drawing as kind of like a like an icebreaker. Like whenever I went to like a new school or I would meet people, I would just kind of like just take out like a pen and paper and I would just start drawing. And then people would inevitably just start like looking over my shoulder and be like, "Oh, what are you drawing? Oh my gosh, is that Batman? Oh my gosh, is that like Superman?" And then like that's how I would make friends and how people would get to know me and stuff. And then it got to the point where people got so enamored with my art and drawing, people, you know, wanted to commission me to make things for them. Like, "Oh, can you like design my name real cool?" Or, "Oh, can you do this picture for me?" And then eventually I started making comic books for people. I would make like 5-page, like 10-page and 15-page comic books for like 50 cents, 75 cents, and $1. And I would like sell them to people. And I would just make little drawings like of original characters or even like characters that they wanted me to draw of them, or like incorporate them with like their favorite superhero and like these little comic books. And yeah, it just kept going and going and going and going. And then I probably hit like a what can you call this? Like there's this moment in every single artist's life where when you're young, everyone tells you as an artist, like, "Oh my God, that's amazing. Like, keep going. You can do whatever you want." And then you get to like teenage, adolescent years, then most of the people around you, especially the adults, start going, "Okay, like that was cool when you were a kid, but like now it's time to get practical. Now it's time to get serious." And I kind of hit that phase in my early, hit that phase in my early adolescence. And I was legitimately contemplating on whether or not I would be able to make art like a full-time career. At that point in time, it didn't really seem sustainable or viable. It really just kind of seemed like a pipe dream, but it was something that I knew I really, really wanted. At the time, man, I was watching any and all superhero media. The first movie I ever saw in theaters was Spider-Man 2. Phenomenal film. It changed my life.
Classic.
I was watching a lot of, you know, Spider-Man the animated series, X-Men the animated series, Static Shock. Like that was also another show that like really, really changed my life that I didn't realize until I was way, 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 way older. Like I didn't realize the impact of being a young black kid and seeing a black superhero who was the protagonist. He wasn't the sidekick. He wasn't the side character. He wasn't the person who showed up every now and then. He didn't come through to give a quick stereotypical remark like, "Oh, damn," or some random, you know, ass goofy shit like that. Like he was a real kid, a real person, a real fleshed out human being with complex thoughts, feelings, and emotions and narratives that I could really, really relate to. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And I remember when Static Shock got canceled, I remember feeling like, okay, but like, are they going to make a movie? Are they going to do something with it? And just kind of waiting for something to happen, and nothing happened. And I remember kind of getting to the point where I was like, well, damn, like if nobody's going to make the thing, that I want to exist in the world, then I guess I have to make it. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Before I got to that point, I was in the time where I was, you know, seriously contemplating other paths in career. So I was trying to think of what kind of plays to my strengths, to the things that I'm interested in. Since a kid, I've been very interested in philosophy, psychology, you know, anthropology, the studying of human cultures, mind, civilizations, like the brain, human connections, why we are the way that we are, like these deep universal questions. Like, you know, you could ask my mom. Like, I've always just been a super, super inquisitive kid and just always wanted to know anything and everything about like everything. So for a while I thought that I was actually going to go into forensic psychology. This was around the time I was like a junior in high school. I was like, I think I'm going to be a forensic psychologist. And then towards like my senior year, I was like, that's stupid. I don't think I want to do that. I think, no, I really do want to double down on art, because the other thing that I also realized about myself at that point in time is I realized I did not have what it takes to be a good employee. Like I realized like my attention span, the way that I like to work, my creative processes, like I am just not the kind of person that can wear a uniform, be told to, you know, follow specific orders or do things in a certain way that doesn't make sense or aren't the most efficient. Like everything about what it meant to be a worker, I just didn't mesh with at all. And I was like, it's going to be very difficult for me to get employment trying to work for someone else. So let me try to see if I can figure out how I can create a path or an avenue for me to be able to work for myself. Then this is before that. Man, I'm skipping all over the place. When I was like 12, I started taking up animating, and I started, making my own little animations. And then when I was like 13, I started uploading those animations to YouTube and stuff like that. I stopped that junior year when I was contemplating a different career path. But then my senior year, I kind of picked it back up again and decided when I was picking out my electives, I took on this TV developing course. On how to make TV and television and stuff like that for broadcast television. And that was really, really interesting to me, learning all the little details about how to make broadcast television. And then that kind of really, reignited the spark in me for so there is a pathway for me to, get paid and be a creative. And at that time, during my senior year, this is the time where, you got to apply for colleges and all this kind of stuff. And I knew at that point in time, I was like, okay, I'm going to make the commitment to do something with art. I've been making animations for a really long time, and then that's when it kind of all really clicked to me that I didn't realize that basically everything up until that point, I was kind of already a filmmaker. I just didn't realize it. When I was making my little comic books and I was putting together all of the dialogue for the comic book characters, I'm writing dialogue. As I'm drawing all of these little scenes of what's happening from this scene to this scene, it's I'm creating storyboards. I didn't know I was doing all of the aspects of what filmmaking is, just in my own, little way. And then eventually I kind of came to the conclusion of oh, film, that's what it is. I want to do film. I want to, work in film. I want to do film and television. And again, kind of going back to the old love of cartoons and superheroes, I was man, I remember being 5 years old and watching Spider-Man, the animated series, and telling to myself, I want to have a superhero on TV. So I was I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to go back to that original dream. I remember at that time I was reading this, book by Pablo Picasso, where he essentially talks about a lot of his philosophy, essentially you could say, behind Cubism has to do with the fact that he is trying to get back to art at its earliest and most simplistic stage, when art is its most free. And I was that idea really, really resonated with me. Getting back to the basics, when art was pure. Back when the focus wasn't about money or what I could do or anything, when it was just purely for, I have this great, amazing idea and I just want to express that. And I felt all of those feelings when I started to feel the calling to be a filmmaker. So I literally only applied for one college, which was Full Sail University. And I only applied to that college because I found out that was the only college that I could go to where I didn't have to take the SAT or ACT, because I was just vehemently against the idea of believing that a standardized test could actually accurately equate how intelligent I was. As you can tell, there's a theme here. I'm very anti a lot of things.
No, that's all good, man.
I feel it though.
And I was just nah, it's bullshit. I don't want to take no stupid test. So I was I'm just going to find a college where I'm going to be able to further develop my skills, and learn all the things that I need to and not have to do that shit. So I literally only applied to one college. I got in, I got a scholarship, and that first year, I was basically able to go to college for free. Also at this time, I was working for Channel Frederator. I had just gotten, so at this point in time, my YouTube channel had been doing pretty good. And at that time, I'd made this whole original Pivot Spider-Man series. Pivot is the software that you could use to make these little stick animations. And I had basically created this whole little series of this Spider-Man stick animation series. And they were all, based off of Spider-Man characters, obviously, but they were all original storylines, because Spider-Man, is one of my, favorite characters. And I'd gotten a lot of notoriety off of YouTube, and I had been able to catch the attention of Channel Frederator. At that time, they were working on creating this new YouTube division where they were looking for other animators to kind of bring on and kind of use as brand ambassadors to kind of get more people to come on over to Channel Frederator. So they noticed my stuff. They thought it was really good. They gave me a signing bonus. And with that money, I pretty much used that in my scholarship to go to college, and I basically just paid out of pocket. And the rest I got paid off with the scholarship that I got to go to college. And then I got my bachelor's degree in film. And then after that, I took a year off, and then I went and I got my master's. But during my bachelor's degree, the first 3 months of my bachelor's degree is when I conceptualized my magnum opus, which is Captain Zero.
Yeah. Hey, shout out, man. I have not met another person who majored in film besides me since I left college.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Well, yeah,
we family.
Here I am.
Family. Man, that's so dope. I mean, seriously, because I mean, you know, like you mentioned, like all these inspirations about, you know, where you draw, like, oh my goodness, this superhero so dope, that superhero so dope, Static Shock, Spider-Man, all this stuff, you know, and you know, when we first came across you, you know, Captain Zero, like you mentioned, you know, that's your baby, you know, like you can just tell like how much love you put into that character. That's so dope, you know. And yet there's like a interesting twist. We were kind of talking off camera about it, you know, Josh and I, like, you know, you have this certain very unique concept that you don't really see in a lot of superheroes, man. So like, you know, yeah, walk us through Captain Zero. Like, how did you come up with like the idea, the concept of this dude? Because it's very unique. It's very different in a totally dope way.
Oh, thank you. Man, the conceptualization of Captain Zero is a very interesting one. So this was 3 months into me being at college. At the time, I had like this best friend, and we had a really bad falling out. And I was basically like, you know, doing the adulting thing for the first time, like alone. Like I was away from home at that time. I like lived in Port St. Lucie, Florida for like most of my life. I was now in Orlando, Florida. I was with my sister. Me and my sister were living together for those first couple of months. But it was really hard. It was like a really big adjustment. There were so many things being thrown my way. It felt like a lot to juggle, and my mental health was deteriorating bad, like very badly. When I was 17, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. That was shortly after having a really bad depressive episode where, I mean, at that time when I was like 16, 17, that was probably like one of the 2 years of like a very dark period in my life. Like at that time, I had like attempted suicide like 6 times, and it was very not good. Just a very bad time. But fortunately, you know, through friends, through family, even not necessarily family, because at that time they had really no idea what was going on. Right. They didn't really understand it. You know, like for a lot of them, it was just very new. Like I'm Caribbean American. Both of my parents are immigrants. So to them, they were like, we don't understand like what's going on with you. Like, what do you mean you're sad? Like, you're sad? Like, for what? Like, we don't understand. Like, you have a roof over your head, you got clothes on your back. Like, what are you sad for? Like, I should be sad. I gotta work all these crazy, ridiculous hours for you guys. Like, I don't understand. Right. And, you know, not for nothing, like I understand coming from their cultural background, like, you know, there are no real conversations about mental health. And that, in a way, was kind of like the seed that eventually led to Captain Zero being born. But, you know, fast forward a few months to me being in college and just having a really bad time, I went into a very bad depressive episode. I remember being on the floor, like curled up in the fetal position, like crying, and all of the thoughts in my mind were very bad, dark, negative thoughts, most of which were really just thinking about various ways, because at the time my sister wasn't home. It was just me alone in the house. And at the time, literally the only thing I was thinking of was like, how fast can I go to the kitchen and find something to hurt myself? Or is there something sharp in the bathroom that I could use to possibly make me not feel what I'm feeling? Very bad, very dark, negative thoughts. But then, in the midst of me having all these thoughts, I had this kind of realization, this kind of epiphany, where I realized one of the main reasons why I want to do these bad things to myself is because I don't want to feel the way that I'm feeling. But could there possibly be another way for me to exercise this feeling without me causing harm to myself? And when I had that thought, my brain instantly kind of went back to what has been my saving grace since the very beginning, and that was art. So instead of reaching for a razor blade, I went into my kitchen and I grabbed a piece of paper and I grabbed a pencil and I just started drawing. And within like 15 minutes, I had made the first ever drawing of Captain Zero.
Wow.
And funny enough, initially when I conceptualized Captain Zero, it wasn't supposed to be about a superhero at all. It was really just supposed to be about my senior year in high school, discovering that I had been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, and essentially trying to navigate that, trying to figure out what that was, being a black person, being a person who's a child of immigrants, essentially trying to really tell the story of what is it like dealing with mental health issues when you come from a community and come from a space where damn near nobody knows what you're talking about and nobody can explain or even understands. Yeah. And that's really where the base concept came from. And then from there, as I just kind of went on and further wanted to develop it, I thought about all the other, things that have inspired me over the years, my love of superheroes, my love of, writers like Stan Lee and stuff. And I was like, no, like I kind of want to get back to like that original idea I had when I was 5 years old and I saw Spider-Man the animated series and I was like, I want to make a cartoon of a superhero, and I'm like, let me do that. And then again, I also thought about like Static and how it had been canceled for years and how there was at the time like no indication that anything moving forward like that would ever happen again. And I was like, well, if nobody's going to make or tell this story, then I want to tell this story. And I knew that it would be so unique because I know that something that is a common trope among superheroes is, I mean, the most you might ever see a superhero really dealing with the repercussions of their day-to-day life is in Spider-Man. Facts. Because he's poor and he has to do a lot just to be able to survive. How am I gonna pay rent like this month? All that stuff. And, he's probably the superhero that we get to see the most of the mental toll that it takes on being a superhero. But I'm like, we've never really seen a superhero deal with depression, like full-blown depression, medically diagnosed depression. And I'm not talking about, exogenous depression that lasts for a couple of months. I'm talking about this is a condition that this person has that they're going to have to live with and deal with for the rest of their life.
Right.
Where is that story? Right. And I was like, that is my life. That is my live life experience. And I've never seen that story translated in any kind of way. And I don't know if anybody necessarily has the ability to, because again, so much of that is based on that live life experience. So I was like, if nobody is going to tell the story, then I'm going to tell the story. Right. And then, that's basically where the story for Captain Zero came from.
Just like Kyrie said, like before, like we all got on, I was just giving you like roses because mental health is huge for me. And I love like the message, like, and for people that don't like go to therapy, like the message where it's like, next time, like, try and, tell the whole truth. Like, it doesn't, like, therapy doesn't help unless you are being true. Cause like you have to, you have to get to that root.
You got to open up yourself to it.
Yeah. And it's scary. It's scary, but like that's it, you're not helping yourself. Like, if you're like thinking like, oh, I don't want to tell how I truly feel because this person's going to judge me. But I'm another thing that I'm huge on is representation. And I know it's a big problem, like for like immigrants and the black community, because I'm half Filipino, and I know when I've gone to like my family on that side and talked about like my mental health, they're like, like, oh, I just be happy.
What?
Like,
but like, what do you like? What's going on? Pray to Jesus.
Exactly. Like, what do you
stop feeling that?
Yeah. And I love like just stuff like this that like, like, hey, like it's okay. Like everybody deals with like their own baggage. Like it's okay to seek help. And because it's not a stereotype that like I have like a lot of black friends. And like even some of my cousins are half black, and it's just like mental health is not talked about enough in these communities. And I think it's a huge move. Like, when I saw like the trailer and then I watched the short film, I was like, I'm hooked, bro. I'm hooked.
Yes. Thank you. Like, I love when people tell me that. Like, my favorite thing to hear whenever people tell me that they've seen the short film and they get to the end is they're always like, that's it? Like, I want more, and I'm like, yes, that's the exact feeling that I want you to have. Like, I want you to feel like, where's the rest? Where's the more? Where is this in long form? And I'm like, yes, get on all your social media platforms and be like, I want more long form Captain Zero. So, when we're having these conversations with these networks and stuff, people can see that there's an audience that want this story. Like, I know, like, every single time I get the opportunity to speak to someone about Captain Zero, the show, its premise, its message, the response is always the same. It's always a resounding, like, I need this right now. Yeah. Like, I want to see this. Like, this idea is amazing. And it's so beautiful, one, first and foremost, as an artist, to know that the messages and the themes and ideas you put into your art are being conveyed, that people are understanding that. But also, moreover, it's just such a beautiful thing to see how the show touches and resonates with people, that people feel seen, that they're like, I relate to that. I can, I've experienced that. And that's for me, the most beautiful transcending thing about art is that the more specific you make it, the more you find how all of these live life experiences that we have as humans is so universal. Like, everybody might not be able to specifically relate to the fact that Xerxes is a dark-skinned black child of immigrants. Like, that's a very specific live life experience. But you can relate to being a teenager and being in your senior year of high school and being confused as to what you are supposed to be doing with your life. Exactly. Or the fact that now you have to figure out what your future is. You can relate to the fact of, dealing with mental health issues and not necessarily knowing where to turn, or not necessarily knowing how to express these kinds of things, or being fearful of being judged if you truly do open up. Like, these are all things that are universal messages that people connect with. And it always, always, always makes me so happy whenever I see people connecting with it in that way. And I'm like, yes, like, I know that this is a story that needs to get out there, and needs to get told. And what's so beautiful is the more and more progress that we've made on the show, the more and more people we've been able to show, the actors we've been able to get on and attach and bring on. Like, it's been so beautiful seeing all these other people also see the value in Captain Zero.
Right. Yeah. I mean, no, seriously. And I think that's such a beautiful thing that, and like I mentioned, like, this is just something, that whole concept that I personally haven't seen. The only hero that really comes to mind when I think about this, and this kind of gave me that vibe, it was kind of Sentry from Marvel. The fact of his mental health is also, like, low-key his main antagonist too, it's like a physical embodiment of that. I think that's so dope. I mean, and but also,
because it's like, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like for me, the thing that I love the most about, like, the way that I write my stories and the way that I write my characters is I'm really, really into, like, trope subversion. Because tropes, I mean, exist for a reason. When executed well,
exactly.
They help serve a particular purpose for the story. But what I really love is I really love introducing ideas or themes of concepts that people are familiar with, and then flipping them or twisting them, or, like, inverting what you understand about them. So as it relates to the superhero genre, we know that because most superheroes in most popular media are essentially made to deal with all of their problems existentially. They use violence to deal with their problems. You punch and you beat up bad guys. Right. That's the baseline of what it means to be a superhero. Most of your problems as a superhero are external. So for me, I was like, I want to play with that trope. I want to, there are external battles that he's dealing with, but the most important battle that he's dealing with is the one that's on the inside. There is a kind of fight that he's dealing with that is way harder than punching a super, super overpowered enemy. There is the dark and evil thoughts that exist inside your head. There is nobody that can be as worse of an enemy for you than you can be to yourself at times. And I'm like, that's what I want to show. I want to show that, because again, that's not really something I've ever really seen on that level, on that magnitude. And I'm like, I want to create a whole narrative that is specifically focused on that. What is this inner journey of what it truly means to be a superhero?
And and with that too, man, like, you know, like you said, just to see it on that level is just something I personally haven't seen. And like Josh said, I'm super excited to see once this thing completely gets just thrown in our faces and just gets like it's full. Like, man, I want a movie. Can you make a movie, dog? I mean, come on, man. Like, come on, man. Where is that? Like, don't play with my emotions like this, man. This concept is so dope. And with that, you know, it's popular nowadays, you know, the whole superhero team and like superhero universes and all that such, right? One character that really stood out to me, and I'm like, dang, let me find out more about her, is Oblivion,
Butterfly.
Man. Oh, Oblivion looks so dope, dog.
Oblivion.
Oh my gosh, she looks so dope. I mean, like, what's the backstory? What's the backstory with all these other characters, man? Because I got to know more about that, man.
Oh man, so many like I believe one of the keys to writing well is, you know, you got to write what you know. You got to write what you know. So many of my supporting characters that exist in Captain Zero are based off of real life people that I really know or real life experiences that I've really had. Right. So in all of these characters, you know, I try to show and display not only different aspects of me, but also, you know, aspects of other people that I've grown to like met. Like, I knew that with Captain Zero, there were, again, like going back to the thing of like tropes, there were certain things that I wanted to be there or present and find interesting ways to subvert them, like something that exists inside of Captain Zero. So like Captain Zero, he's technically like literally he's a part of the superhero team. Right. Like, it's not just him, it's him and Butterfly Girl. Like they're a team, they are a duo. Right. And the thing that I really like about Butterfly Girl is that, you know, they're best friends obviously in real life, but Butterfly Girl, despite the fact that she has no superpowers, she is actually the superior superhero. She is actually the one who tactically, you know, intellectually, she's got the superhero thing down. Like Xerxes is the one who's kind of like, you know, tripping over his own feet, trying to like figure out, you know, what to do and how to, you know, best execute these kinds of things. And again, I just thought that was another very interesting way to play off of that kind of dynamic with the whole hero sidekick kind of thing. And then again, also kind of doing a balancing act with the fact of like, oh, male superhero, female superhero, and how in the traditional sense, usually most of the male superheroes getting the spotlight. Like, yes, the show is called Captain Zero and it's about Captain Zero. Right. But when it comes to the dynamic of being a superhero, like Daisy is really actually like the star of the show. Her is Butterfly Girl. And the way that she kind of helps him and, you know, mentors him, you know, not only as a friend, but also, you know, as, you know, a crime fighting duo. And what I really, really wanted to show and display in Xerxes and Daisy's relationship is honestly like the beauty in platonic relationships, one first and foremost. Yeah. Like, I wanted to show a dynamic between two characters, male and female, where it's like they're friends. Just friends, and there's no romantic subplot that's going to like that's never going to happen. Like, so much so to the point, like I literally made Daisy a lesbian just because I'm like, I'm gonna double down. Just admit that in the bud. It's like, nah. I'm going to right. It's like I'm gonna double down on the fact that like, no, nothing is going to happen. These characters will not get together. They will not get together. Right. But what you should really, you know, learn to take away from them is like their love and their care for one another, how strong their bond is, and to show, you know, that bond. And also, you know, because so much of Captain Zero is also speaking to, you know, the Black experience, like. Black women, in a lot of ways, when I think of the Black community as a whole, they are our superheroes. They are very often the ones who are at the front lines, the ones who are dealing with the brunt of some of the worst things that society throws at us. Yeah. And oftentimes for better and for worse. And I'm like, I really want to create a character that, you know, pays homage to that shows that for all of the great things that it can be. And also having honest conversations about how hard that can be, about how there's conversations that are had between Xerxes and Daisy, where Daisy is like, you know, like, I'm tired of being the strong friend. I'm tired of having to be the person that's always having to pick you up and you kind of just doing whatever. Right. And I'm always just kind of left to pick up the pieces and being able to have those real conversations. So that was something that was very important to me to show in that dynamic. As it relates to Oblivion, when I conceptualized that character, I really was thinking of like, I wanted like a Black Cat-esque kind of character. I wanted like an anti-hero kind of character. that would really work well with the various ways we try to show heroism in the way that it's displayed. Like Daisy, obviously, Butterfly Girl, she is the ideal kind of archetype of heroism that most people are familiar with.
Right.
Xerxes, Captain Zero, kind of exists as like this newer kind of archetype of what it means to be a hero. The kind of unseasoned, untrained, still kind of trying to figure it out, but also at the same time is forming his own individual opinions and thoughts and feelings about what it actually truly means to be a hero. And then having Oblivion kind of exist as like this other kind of archetype, this like anti-hero, this person who, for the most part, has a lot of, selfish, self-serving interests, but eventually kind of gets to the point where they realize the greater good and how that's ultimately, beneficial, and having a character like that. But then, introducing them as being like, no, this is like a super like badass person who you do not want to, cross, steps with. Also again, like, something that I did with intention when creating Captain Zero is I wanted to make a show where I could show the variety of blackness. I feel like very often in a lot of media, when it comes to depicting blackness as an experience or the black community, very often we get very one-dimensional, very one-note depictions of what blackness is and what it can be, not realizing that blackness in an experience is very, very vast. Like, the experience that someone who is African American can vary pretty significantly for someone who is like Caribbean American. Like for myself, like my live life experience as a dark-skinned person who is the child of immigrants, while it is very similar to that of someone who's like African American, someone who's like a direct descendant of like chattel slavery in America, like it's still different. There are still lots of specificities into those experiences, even though there's a lot of overlap. Right. So what I wanted to show in Captain Zero was I wanted to have a show that had all of these various different black characters, but all had these various different intersections of blackness. Like Daisy, she is polyethnic. Her father is black, her mother is white. Xerxes, he's black, he's dark skinned, but he's the child of immigrants. Oblivion, she's Cuban, but she's also trans. She's a dark-skinned black trans woman. So it's like in all of these experiences, you have male, you have a lesbian polyethnic woman, you have a dark-skinned child of immigrants, you have another dark-skinned trans woman. It's like all of these are black experiences, but all of these are different and specific. And I want to show all of these in all of the ways in how they are similar, but also in all of the ways in how they are different and distinct and unique, and to show people in a real visceral way that like, hey, blackness is not monolithic. Like if you think you know everything there is to know about blackness or black people, I promise you don't. Right. I promise you really only ever really scratch the surface. Right. And I really wanted to create something that would give a more in-depth, full understanding of what it means to be black, because even that, like I could spend, and I quite literally will, like I could literally spend my entire life only telling black stories, and I wouldn't even get like a quarter of the way exactly of showing just how diverse all of these experiences, all of these live life experiences are. Exactly. And it's like that's also another thing I wanted to show and create with intention.
Absolutely.
And that's like the biggest problem that I have with like television or film, specifically I think television, when it comes to telling those stories of black people and brown people and everything else in between, is like I feel like Hollywood has this just one view or one story that they're trying to tell, where it's like, and me speaking from, I'm a Latino man myself, right? I'm also the son of an immigrant, right? Where I put on shows like, I can't even think of an example right now, but like, where everybody has like a very exaggerated accent.
Yes. Oh God.
And of course you have your stereotypical, just they pick the loudest stereotypes to put on TV and call that representation, when you have shows like, let's take it back to probably the greatest Latino show that will ever live, the George Lopez show. It was like, that was such a realistic depiction of what just a regular ass Latino family is.
Yeah.
No ridiculous stereotypes, none of that. And I think the show that came closest to it, what's it called? This Fool or something like that? You know what I'm talking about? This Fool? That show was great to me because, again, it didn't really try to sell us the stereotypical, dim-witted or alcoholic, whatever, Mexican family. And with This Fool, it was actually, the character was kind of a weenie. He lives in LA, among cholos and shit. And he gets fucked with a lot because he dresses like a cholo, but he definitely isn't one. And he's just himself, and he deals with mental stuff and all that as well. And he gets himself involved. And I relate a lot to that character because of just people that I've grown up around where I feel like him. Like I have the look. But when it came down to, hey, we're going to go jump this fool, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that, I just went for the ride because I felt like I had to. Not because I wanted to. So I think that's super great. Like, there's this show, what's it called? One Day at a Time or something like that. I can't stand that show. That show just threw same thing. I love Gabriel Iglesias, but his show is garbage. Is it called Mr. Iglesias or something like that? Yeah. Same thing. It's just stereotype after stereotype. I understand that he's the one who's putting it on. He's writing a lot of it, but at the same time, it's just like you can see the network presence in that show. You can feel it. You know what I'm saying?
You can feel the corporate mandate of it being like, oh well, can you make it more Mexican? Like, what does that mean?
Exactly.
Right.
Like I've had the chance to talk to a lot of like various like black actors, like even the actors that I'm working with on the show for Captain Zero, and having people talk about experiences about being in casting rooms and auditions and stuff like that, where like white producers are telling them after they've read lines of like, can you make it more black? Can you make it blacker? And it's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who are you to be the arbiter on what is or isn't black or how black something is? Like, this is so strange. Exactly. But we often find that in these big corporate studios and stuff like that, that's what the mandate is, which is why it was so important for me to conceptualize Captain Zero and get this short film out the way that I wanted to, because I knew that before I got to that level, before we get to the place where we're selling and putting out on platforms and all that stuff, I wanted to make sure that as much of my original ideas and how I conceptualize these characters and everything to stand on its own, so people could see, no, this is the kind of story that I'm trying to tell, and I'm not going to deviate from that.
Right.
Yeah, like going back to like the George Lopez show, like just one of the things that made that show so great was how smart it was, where you were never questioning, is this a Latino show? Are they really Mexican? Like, no, obviously they were all brown, but like you said, like there was no, like, you didn't really feel the forcefulness of it going, be more Mexican, be more this, like you didn't feel that. It was just like literally
the show was almost making fun of those type of concepts, because a lot of the time you see like George Lopez being mad because his neighbor had like a statue of a guy with a sombrero, and like the whole episode would just be about like, why do you have that? Why is that representing us?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And I think to tell kind of what like Isaac was saying, like to tell that part of it and like to make those kind of like comments awareness, like, but also make it funny and entertaining. It takes a certain level of almost genius, right? Like,
especially in that time, people weren't even thinking like that. It was almost training people to think
that way. Definitely.
And to connect it to you, like the villain in Captain Zero, like I think like it's super dope to see that it's literally his like depression and his inner demon has manifested itself, and you made it look cool and you made it look scary, and it draws the audience in with, and also like it makes them listen, it makes them think like, oh wow, like you get the message, whereas like you could have easily taken like a different approach and made it almost seem like preachy, in a way of like mental health.
That's also another thing. I was very conscious of to avoid, because it's like I know that just by its nature it could be very, very easy to slip into that feeling. Like, I don't want to do the thing where I'm finger wagging at people or like trying to shame people. Like, you're not in therapy yet? Shame on you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not what this is for. Again, if anything, what I really want to do is because I realize the power of media. Media not only shapes, how we feel about the world, but like how we understand it. So I'm like, if I can create a piece of media where I just show you a young Black boy who is dealing with mental health issues, going to therapy, that in itself is enough to make someone who has never considered that as an option before, to see Xerxes going through this, processing his unresolved trauma, actually trying to get to the root of these problems and issues and actually see the way that he's trying to apply it in his life, to make someone just see that and go, hey, I've never thought about doing that before. I've never considered doing that before. I can see in Xerxes, he has all the same fears and trepidations I did. Well, let me give it a try. Let me give it a shot. So it was very intentional about being about like, I want to make sure that I'm putting the medicine in the applesauce, like not just straight up giving you like a big ass spoonful of like medicine. It's like, no, I want it to go down easy. Like, I'm not trying to preach to you about what you should do or the way that you should live your life. Like, I'm just trying to show you, hey, here's an alternative. Here's maybe something you haven't thought of before. Here's maybe something you haven't considered. And here's an experience you might feel that is, speaking to you or reflecting back to you. And here's an option of maybe how you might want to try to address that.
Right. No, that's seriously so dope, man. I mean, and like I said, I'm super excited for it. I know once this thing is popping, it's gonna be, whew, goodness gracious. But I mean, also like, now that you're in your groove, you thought out Captain Zero, you thought out the story, you thought of all these unique characters and all that such. Has it inspired you to create maybe other series or tap into other creations that you're like, oh, you know what, no, let's explore this, let's explore that, whether it's themes that we have or have not seen maybe in media before?
Oh man, 100%. I mean, Captain Zero was really just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, I knew, again, from like a young age, when I realized that I would not make a good worker and that I would have to work for myself, I knew that ultimately the end goal, I knew that ultimately the end goal would be, creating an animation studio where I could create all of my ideas, all of the ideas that I had about stories that didn't exist yet, cool stories that existed in my mind that I wanted to create. And funny enough, during the writer strike that's currently happening right now, because we were actively in the process of pitching Captain Zero, and we got a lot of really, really great feedback from a lot of networks.
Man, that's so frustrating. I'm sorry. Dang.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, it's sad that we weren't able to continue, because we met two really, really great production companies that really, really were feeling the show they were really, really feeling the show, and I felt like we were definitely going to be able to make some progress with both of those guys, and then the strike happened, so kind of like stopped anything from being able to move forward and that kind of stuff. But with all of that being said, because I am a new writer, I know that one of the main reasons of why the strike is even happening is, for fairer working conditions. Yep. It's for better pay. It's for residuals. It's so that being a writer, it doesn't get turned into a gig economy job, which a lot of these major studios are trying to turn it into, and that it's still a sustainable career path. So when I think about what's at stake for the future of writing for both film and television, I'm really, really thankful that this strike is happening, because I know that at the end of it, I will be way, way, way better off as a creator, writer, director, artist, producer, voice actor, because all of the protections that they are seeking to gain from this will ultimately, again, just better me for the future and all the things that I know that I'm gonna eventually go on to create. So it's a double-edged sword. As saddening as it can be, like, my stuff is kind of on pause, I'm still very, very happy, very, very thankful, and very, very supportive to the WGA and the fight that they're on, and then hopefully SAG-AFTRA, and being able to get all of us creators, the things that we need to actually be able to have a good, sustainable career. Exactly. So, yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with kind of like the streaming era, right? Because the people who work like on the streaming side get paid significantly less.
Oh my god,
and that's ridiculous.
Which is interesting because those are watched like so much
streaming
more.
Streaming is just so
the most watched,
booming right now. You'd think it'd be the opposite,
right?
You know,
that's
I think
crazy.
like I was reading up about it, and it was something like, you know, like writers on like just regular, like I think they use like late night shows as an example. We're making like I think the budget for that was like 480 something million, whereas someone on a streaming show, that budget was 8 million or something like that. It was like wow, or 81 million. Or something
I think
like
The
that.
Boys, it was like at least $1 million per episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Like here's the thing, like all of these streaming shows, like the budgets for them, the budgets are crazy.
They're crazy.
Like they're still big budget, and they're still big in terms of like their payouts. You know, you have shows like Wednesday that became like the most streamed, most watched show ever on Netflix's platform, sitting at like what 1.3 billion streams within the first 30 days. And then you have the writers for that show. It's like, how do you have a show that does 1.3 billion in streams?
That's crazy.
And then when it comes to the writers getting their residual checks, and writers have been posting this like on Twitter and on social media platforms, showing their residual checks, and it's like 13 cents, 62 cents. That's like, are you kidding me? Like, this show obviously is making money. Obviously, somebody is pocketing it.
Right.
Who is ultimately the question? Because it's like, if this show would not have 1.3 billion streams if writers did not write it. There would be nothing for the actors to say. There would be nothing for the camera people to shoot. There would be nothing for the distributors to sell if it weren't for the writers first creating something that could then be translated in all these other different mediums. So it's like, here are the people who are the lifeblood of this industry, not at all being able to share in the profits of what's making this industry successful. And again, like when you look at it by the numbers, streaming, by all accounts, is a very profitable business. Very profitable. You know, so it's like, why is it that the people who are creating and making this profit not getting cut in on some of it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So,
and you think they would respect like these people that are bringing them in all this money? I think about people like exactly. Like I think about people like Quinta Brunson, right? Who is writing like one of the most popular shows right now, you know, Abbott Elementary, wrote it and is in it, you know, and she's part of the strike now because, you know, and I'm like, yeah, man, y'all are so stupid. Like Abbott is bringing you in money. Like people love that show. Like why wouldn't you fight to just keep it going?
Just
like,
keep your peeps happy.
All they're asking for is like
3%
security. Like you know, like
bro, literally 3%.
3%.
Literally.
That's crazy.
3%.
That is crazy.
What these mega media conglomerates make, like they're again like billions of dollars every single year, and they're only asking for 3%.
That's like
3%.
I didn't know she wrote Abbott.
Yeah. She's the head writer. She's the showrunner.
Oh wow,
she's the showrunner for Abbott Elementary.
I get upset when I see like Jimmy Fallon. It's like, oh, I support the writers, and it's like, well, then, bro, then why are you still going? Yeah, why is your show still going? Plus, you make enough where you could help out your writers.
So
like
many people make enough where they can help out. They don't give a fuck.
So that is actually a misconception. So Jimmy Fallon actually is paying all of his writers out of pocket during the duration of the strike. He actually
shout out. So I was about to say, my king, Conan O'Brien, back in 07.
Was doing that same thing. So shout out to Jimmy and all the other people who are, you know, trying to do right by the people who are, you know, keeping their shows afloat. But there needs to be more of that, man. It's really, really crazy. And the thing that, again, like, in a way, it's almost kind of a blessing in disguise. Because I remember, like, as we were getting close to, you know, making some of the deals with some of these places, and, you know, there were talks of the writer's strike, like, looming. And I remember that even affected, like, one of the pitches that we had. Like, you know, we did a pitch, and it was, like, really, really great. The reception was really, really great. And then we heard the response back from them, and the response was basically like, yo, like, we really loved it. We really enjoyed it. But, like, you know, the market's kind of going through a thing right now. So we don't know if we're going to be able to actively take on any projects in development. So, you know, we're just going to, like, hold off for now, and we'll circle back later. And I remember, you know, reading that and being like, oh yeah, this is definitely because of the looming strike. And I definitely feel like the strike is going to happen. But I'm also, in a weird way, actually kind of thankful because I know, first and foremost, I'm making a very subversive, very black show. Like, let's be honest. Like, I know the kind of project that I'm making. And I know what the mandate is in Hollywood, and I know the way that they treat all unproven success stories, especially when they center black people. I would have been the first project on the chopping block. Had I actually locked in a distribution deal, the minute the strike went into effect, I would have got an email from whatever distributor platform, and they would have been like, hey, so our development deal is suspended ad infinitum until further notice. Like that's ultimately what would have happened.
The sad part is like no matter how successful the show would have been too, because I remember I forgot. There was like a couple of Netflix shows that come to mind, like immediately, Black Centered and all that such, right? They were popping. Oh my God. They were absolutely popping. But then COVID happened and they just used that as an excuse of, we can't. It's like, but your streaming numbers are killing it. So what you mean? Like,
actually, COVID was the rise of streaming.
Right. So the sad part is you are unfortunately right. You could have done like everything 1 million views, like, per 24 hours or some mess like that, right? But then it's just like, but we don't see it. And so honestly, you're right. Timing is everything when it comes to these opportunities.
Oh my goodness, timing is everything. Like, if there's one great key I've learned in my career, it's that, how important timing is. And also the second thing that I learned that's the most important is you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching, which is why it's just so important to just get your work out there. Like, when I was able to secure Angelica Ross onto the project, shout out Angelica Ross, I love her so much. Amazing, beautiful human. I will never stop singing her praises. When I first got her on board on the project, it was literally just because I made a random tweet. Like, I posted a picture of, Oblivion, because that was the character. When I created Oblivion in the version that she exists now, because I went through multiple different passes with the character and how they would look and how the design would be. But when I finally landed on Oblivion's current incarnation, where she's, has the form where, like, she transforms and she's, like, super blue and muscular and super dope, I drew that picture and I posted it on Twitter and I tagged Angelica Ross in it, literally just as a shot in the dark. And I was like, yo, when I made and I designed this version of this character, you were the person I envisioned playing this. Because at that time, it was like 2019. I'd been watching Pose, just a fucking amazing show. And I was like, yo, you are who I see voicing this character. Because that's also another thing I do when I write my scripts. Like, I literally try to find actors that I know that I want to do the voice of certain characters, and I literally write the dialogue in the voice of that actor.
That's dope, yeah.
So I was like, yo, like, I literally was thinking of you when I created and made this character. I would love if you did the voice of it. And again, it was just a random shot in the dark. Like, I don't even know where that idea came from. I was just like, let me just put that out in the universe. Let me just put it into the ether and see what happens. Imagine my fucking surprise when 45 minutes later, I check Twitter and she's in my comments and she's like, yo, this looks dope. Send me a message. I would love to see how I could get involved in this. And I was like, what?
That's so right. Dang. Okay.
Just off of Twitter. And then literally, like, that led to a snowball effect of all of these other opportunities just because I had been creating and working on this thing for so long. So, I DM her, we get the DM and we're messaging back and forth. And she's like, oh my God, like, I love this. I sent her some additional material. She's like, I love this. This is like so great. Like, I want to be a part of this. Like, yo, like, she was like, yo, like, let's do this. Let's hop on a call real quick with my agent. And we're going to talk about, how we can get this out there, how we can get distributors, all this jazz. And I'm like, oh my God. So I get on this Zoom call with her and her agent, her voiceover agent, and we're talking about the project. And at the time, the short film wasn't done. I had like an animatic, which was basically like a moving visual storyboard, basically.
Right.
And it had me doing the voiceover in it because obviously I couldn't find an actor to do the voice of Xerxes. I couldn't pay an actor to do the voice of Xerxes, so I just did the voice myself. And that's the only thing that we had at the time. And I had attached it, to the show deck, which is like a visual compilation of like a brief synopsis about what the show is about in its entirety. And I sent that off to her manager and her agent, and her agent was like, watched it, and her agent was like, oh my God, like, who did the voice of Xerxes? Like, that performance really like blew me away. Like, it was really captivating. Like, who did that? And I was like, oh, this is awkward. It's me. Like I did the voice. And she was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, it was me. Like I couldn't afford to get another actor, so I just did the voice myself. And she was like, do you have an agent? And I was like, no, I don't. And she's like, well, you do now.
Oh, it's like, okay,
shit.
thank you.
And I was like,
she ain't asking.
and like,
she
yeah,
just
like, just like that, like that. And
That's
then
awesome.
even further, like she was like, listen, I'm gonna be straight up with you. She was like, I don't bullshit people. I'm not in the business of doing that. I've been in this business a very long time, and you didn't know something about me. I don't even hop on a call with someone if I don't feel like they're worth my time. If they're not worth my time. The only reason I'm talking to you right now is because I see the value that exists in this. I see the value that exists in you. And I'm like, holy shit, like that's
dope.
Like ridiculous, crazy motivation. And I remember I even got a chance to ask Angelica after the fact. I was like, Angelica, you don't know me from nowhere. Like we've never met in real life. We've never, walked past each other. Like I'm literally a random stranger to you. What made you see my tweet and just think, yeah, I'm gonna work with this person? Angelica was like, you want to know what it is? I saw your tweet. I went to your media tab on Twitter and I just scrolled. And you know what I saw? I saw that you had been working on this project for years. I saw that you were not waiting for some magical thing to fall out of the sky for you to be able to make your dream happen. You were actively working on it. You were working on scripts. You were working on episodes. I saw these character designs and drawings. Like you were being about it. And she was like, it was that level of determination, motivation. And then again, and she was like, and then when I actually got to read the materials, when I read the materials, it was solid. And that is what fully convinced me. That's what, made me go, oh yeah, you are someone that I want to work with. Like this feels like literally a secret gold mine that I just stumbled across and that nobody knows of yet. And she was like, and I'm going to make sure that it's my personal goal to make sure that the world knows of this gold mine, that it exists. And I'm like, oh my God,
that's got to be so validating.
Oh my goodness, like so validating. Like, oh my goodness. Like I was like, because again, like this year, September 27th, will make 8 years since I've been working on Captain Zero.
Wow.
8 years. It's been almost an entire decade working on this show. And only in the last 2 years have I been able to make this crazy, significant progress towards Captain Zero, actually being able to speed towards, production and getting out. And it's been a super, super amazing journey. And I remember every single year, I would always, look back and look at the progress that I was making that year. And I remember for those first 4 years, 5 years, I always felt a certain level of disappointment because I felt like, I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I wasn't seeing the fruits of my labor, not knowing that everything that I was doing was building up to that point. What I really needed was the time to build up all of those assets. Like the short film is a culmination of 6 different attempts of making a proof of concept for Captain Zero. Like if you go to my YouTube, you'll see 3 different older versions of a similar kind of concept. And you even see certain scenes that are the same, that are just kind of revamped inside the short film. You can see that I've been working and retooling these ideas for years until I finally perfected it. The draft of Captain Zero that exists right now, the one that I sent to all the producers, actors, the ones that every single time I send to someone, they're like, this is amazing, I need this, I love this show, and gives people their confidence in me as a writer. It took me 120 plus drafts to get there. I literally stopped counting after 120. So it's probably 130 something.
Right.
Be like that.
But it literally took me 120 plus drafts of just that first script, just the first one, the first episode.
Wow.
To get it to the place where no matter who I send it to, they're like, oh no, this is it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It takes that stranger to validate you for it to really hit though, because I feel like I don't know. I know too many people that have friends that just are not honest with them and will tell them anything they do is fire.
Oh yeah.
Or sometimes your friends are secret haters and they'll tell you, yeah, that shit's dope when it sucks, and they know it and they try to stunt your growth. But when you get it from a stranger, right, especially on Twitter,
who has no skin,
right? Who has no, it doesn't matter, no effect on them whether it's good or not. They can very easily, you know, talk some shit and be a hater online, but they went out of their way to tell you like, no, this shit is dope. Like that's when you know you got something. You got something. You know, and I'm glad you bring up though like that how long it took. Because one thing,
my god, people think it's overnight. Like I know when Captain Zero finally comes out, there will be so many people who just become hip to it, who are just like, yo, this new thing looks so cool, and they're gonna think that like, oh, this thing like just came out, like, oh, this has only been in development for like 2 years. Like, no, we're talking about almost a decade, almost 10 years of working on this to get it to this point. You know, damn, I was gonna say even to the point of what you were making earlier about like, you know, getting the validation from strangers. For me, it wasn't necessarily the validation of a stranger. It was the validation of someone, one, first and foremost, who I admire, but two, someone who actually has the credentials to provide a legitimate critique. Because for me as an artist, like there's two different kinds of critiques you can get. There's like a general critique that, you know, comes from just someone that's ill-informed, but that critique to a certain extent is still valid because there's always going to be people who don't know anything about you or your work or the subject matter you're working in who still need to be able to engage with the property or the project. So that critique is valid. But for me, a higher, or for lack of a better term, more valid critique comes from people who are actually knowledgeable about the thing that you're doing. So for me, getting that validation from Angelica was super, super validating because this is a classically trained actor. Yeah. This is someone who sees and looks at scripts daily. This is someone who has to review bad scripts and pass them up daily. Like she literally just finished doing a stint on Broadway. Like this is someone who knows what they're talking about. They know the difference between good and bad. They know the difference between something that is producible and non-producible. And this person told me without blinking, like, I want to get behind this. I want to throw my full weight of whatever it is I can do to get this out on screens on television. And that for me was like, oh no, I really got something here.
We could have.
It's like broke people giving you financial advice. You know? Like, what the fuck?
Basically, it's like,
I mean, sure,
like it's like, sure, you could maybe tell me what not to do, but you can't really help me in terms of where I'm trying to go. But here's someone who's done what I'm trying to do and more, telling me, no, you got it.
Yeah,
that was like, oh, okay, no, I got it.
Yeah, I also love how you're honest about how long it took. I know way too many creatives, right? And I use that word loosely for these people who claim that they, you know, or it's just like, I'm waiting for this to pick back up, but they're not doing anything actively to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could easily say, I've been working on writing this script for X amount of years, but I've only really wrote for 2 months. Right. I've been working on it for 2 months. Like, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a
in
creative,
total, you've only been working on it for 2 months.
Exactly. Like just because you've been sitting on an idea doesn't mean you're working on it. You know, like I feel people, especially, I see it so much. I know a lot of rappers. I see it so much with them that it's just like they don't take the proper steps. Like then we go on your Twitter and I see you taking all the right steps. You're networking. You're doing all this right. And I've said on the show before, and I'm going to say it until the day the show ends. Is if you are a creative, right, or you making music, you making videos, you making fucking TikToks, podcasts, right? Like you need to have a presence online. You need to have the skill to network and to promote your show. If you're shy online, you're not going anywhere in life. Like this business, entertainment as a whole is a go-getter business. Like it's not a spectator sport. Yes, you need to be seen. You know what I mean? And that was a fucking bar. But you
gotta create, you know?
Exactly. You gotta work.
Create. You can't be a writer who doesn't write. You can't be an artist who, you know, hasn't, you know, put anything out. Like you have to create. And I feel like that's the thing that when people come across the shit that I make, they not only see it and when they interact with me, but they can quite literally see it in my work. If you go to my Twitter right now, like you'll see, to kind of like go back to what you were saying earlier about like, yo, are there any other projects that you're working on? Like Captain Zero was the first of many. Like we have a backlog of, I think right now, like 12 other projects that we have that's going to come out for Cutting Edge Animation. Right now, I'm using the downtime because of the writer's strike to further develop 4 other projects. So by the time the writer's strike is over, not only will we be able to hit the ground back running with picking back up where we left off with Captain Zero, but now we have 4 other projects that we're ready to take out to these other networks. Because as we were talking to these other platforms, there were a couple of people that were like, yo, we really like Captain Zero, we really think this is dope, but like our network is kind of looking more for like comedies, or oh, we're looking more for short form programming, or oh, we're looking for things that are more family friendly in this vein, and Captain Zero just doesn't fall into that. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's great news for me, because again, I've got a backlog of X many shows and movies and project ideas, and I have a project for every single one of those mandates that you're looking for. Oh, you want something that's more family friendly? Oh, well, I've got The Necromancer. Oh, you want something that's, you know, more comedy based? Oh, well, we've got Space Friends. Oh, you want something that's more mystical sci-fi? We've got Nyx the Dream Warrior. Oh, you want something that's more adult contemporary but like more violent, maybe like in the Adult Swim kind of vein? We have Bounty Hunter Strippers in Space. Like, come on, we've got it.
Right. No, that's dope. I mean, what's like probably out of those 4? I know it might be kind of hard to choose, and this might not even be a fair question. But which one are you, at least at the moment, the most excited for? The most like, ooh, like okay, I think people are really, really gonna dig this.
Oh man, that is a hard question.
I know it's not fair. I know.
There's so much to love about all of them, to be honest. Like I don't do anything that I don't love. Like the same level of passion and intensity that I have for Captain Zero, I have for every project that I make and create. Like what's really special to me about these next batch of these 4 other projects that I'm developing with my writing partner is it's the first, because we've been writing together literally, like he was there when I conceptualized Captain Zero. Like I met him, I probably met him like 1 month after I'd like conceptualized Captain Zero. Oh wow, yeah. And since that point we had literally been writing together all the way up until this time. And we've had lots of people that, you know, came with us and started with us and worked with us, and lots of people left. And again, I've been working on this project for 8 years, and like out of all of the people that have been have come and gone, he has stayed and been here throughout this whole time. So these next batch of projects we're getting ready to work on, they're the first group of projects where we're both credited as dual creators. We're both co-creators for all of those projects. So even just that is like another thing that I love about them. But like, man, with The Necromancer, for example, I really, really love that project, and it's got me really, really hyped and excited because I really got to delve into more of my culture. Like I'm Haitian, and something that has always like fascinated me. Like I've always been, I mean, I grew up in a very religious household, but I always found, you know, religion, theology very, very fascinating. And, you know, as I grew up and I grew older, you know, I, you know, started to want to learn more different things, you know, for myself. And what I realized as I was kind of doing more research about like this show and this project, because it has to do with voodoo and hoodoo, I wanted to accurately represent, voodoo and hoodoo. And what I realized while working on this project and doing all this research for it is that mythology, for the most part, like most people are familiar with like Norse gods, Greek gods, Egyptian gods, right? And with all of those mythologies that most people know, there is a general understanding that the temperament of most of these deities, you know, vary from person to person. Like, you know, everybody knows, generally speaking, that like Zeus is an asshole, you know, but like they don't think all of the Greek gods are assholes or all of the Greek gods are bad or evil. However, there is the stigma when it comes to Haitian mythology, or theology, that all Loa, or you could say like these Haitian deities, that they're all evil, that they're all malevolent. Like you literally just say the word voodoo and the first thing that pops in people's minds is black magic, witches, you know, voodoo dolls, like blood sacrifices, devil worship. These are the first things that come to people's minds when they think about voodoo and hoodoo, not at all realizing that is a very, very Western, whitewashed, intentionally so, like devalued version of what is actually true of this practice. And when I actually started to learn more about voodoo and hoodoo and what these actual beliefs are, I was blown away. One, first and foremost, because I was learning all these things about my culture and heritage that even for me growing up, I was taught to believe was bad, even in my own Haitian household, because, you know, both of my parents are, you know, Christian and religious. Even they had a version of understanding their own culture that was, for lack of a better term, like a colonized, whitewashed, you know, version of their actual history that actually is not true or accurate to what it is. So when I started doing all this research and learning about the different deities and how they show up and how they manifest, it was so beautiful to find out that, like, the reality is Haitian mythology is very, very similar to all these other mythology. Like, there are good deities and there are bad deities, just like there are in any other kind of mythology. But like, the prevailing narrative is that all deities in voodoo and hoodoo are evil. They're all bad. They're all trying to steal your soul or do some trick with the devil or do something. That's not at all what it is. Like, the most popular Haitian deity that's ever existed in media is Papa Legba. You've probably seen him in American Horror Story for, what is it? He was in Coven, and he was also in another one. He was played by Lance Riddick.
Right. Yeah.
Even that depiction of him is inaccurate. Like, the way that they depict Papa Legba in that, I mean, the only thing that they got accurate about him is that, you know, the fact that, like, you know, he's foul-mouthed and he likes cigars and he likes rum, which, surprise, surprise. Why do they keep those particular aspects about him? But, you know, like, the way that they depicted him as almost kind of like, as if he's kind of like the devil's lawyer, essentially. Like, kind of when you want to do a deal with the devil, he's the guy who kind of shows up, who kind of irons out the detail. And then, you know, you make your deal and he dips, when the reality is that's not at all what his, the way that his powers manifest. Like, he is a god of death, that is true, but he is more like the Grim Reaper, in the sense that he is really being a deity that is made to traverse souls from this realm to the next realm. That's primarily what he does. That's a bulk of what his job is. And he's not at all a malevolent spirit. Like, he's literally just a transporter of souls. Yeah. That's really it. Right? But it's like, oh, that's not sexy enough. You know, like, no, we have to make him, you know, some evil kind of thing. And again, it's like, that's not to say that there aren't, you know, malevolent deities in this mythology, but it's like, when we do this, we pathologize this entire religion. We make this entire practice look like it's bad. And again, surprise, surprise, that we do that to the oldest, most prominent Black religion. Yeah. Like, that's the religion that we think is bad and evil and has all these things. So I'm like, yo, essentially, when I was, you know, conceptualizing the Necromancer, I was like, I want to make essentially a Haitian version of Coco, the 2017 Disney Pixar film. I was like, that movie, I felt like so beautifully captured so much about, you know, like that culture, like, and it was so beautiful, like the respect for the dead, the ancestry, all this kinds of stuff. And something that I found that's actually, again, a very close parallel is that, very similarly to like that, like hoodoo in its practice is really about animism. The belief that all things are alive and all things are sentient, and that we as human beings are essentially the guardians of all of these things, and we are meant to protect these things. We should be living in harmony with nature. We should not do things that defile the earth or hurt things or objects or people, and we should treat all these things with reverence, right? Mm-hmm. That's the basis of what voodoo and hoodoo is. If I didn't tell you that, if somebody just asked you randomly, what do you think hoodoo is? Is that what you would have told them? No, because that's not what the general understanding is. And it's like, yo, my goal of when I create art, first and foremost, I want people to have cathartic experiences. I want people to have almost religious, transcendental experiences. Like, I want you to feel like you are really, really experiencing something. I want you to feel like these stories and these narratives and these characters are really jumping out at you and tugging at your heartstrings. But moreover, I want to create informative and entertaining entertainment. Like, I want to show people history and culture but also do it in a way that's entertaining. Like I was saying earlier, you know, like I'm not trying to, you know, spoon feed you the medicine, but I am trying to teach you something. But I don't want to do it in an overtly preachy way, but I do want to open people's eyes and dispel certain misconceptions people have. So that is a project I'm super, super excited for. It's also going to be our first film that we make. Like that's going to be our first feature film that we make. And it's also a trilogy. You know, we've got like 3 films, you know, planned out for that one. So that one is one I'm super excited for. But then, you know, there's Space Friends, which is, you know, the show that Andre and I created. It was primarily his brainchild, and we really kind of made the show honestly just kind of based off of our friendship. And it's about this part human, part fish person named Jillian Workid. And basically she lives like in the future, like basically like in the year 3000, 4000. And her father was a scientist. He was like a very, very prominent scientist, and he was learning information about the fourth dimension and fourth dimensional technology. And basically he just disappears one day. And the entire show was pretty much about, you know, Jill and this band of other aliens and creatures that she comes across, going across space and the cosmos, going on all these crazy wild adventures, looking for her dad, trying to find her dad. And that show, again, just because so much of the elements just have to do with like friendship and love and community, like that's another thing I'm also super, super excited for. But then there's also, you know, Bounty Hunter Strippers in Space, which I love so much because it's like Cocaine Bear. It's like the title tells you everything you need to know about the show. Like I could tell you nothing else. Like literally just the title will tell you everything you need to know about the show. Bounty Hunter Strippers in Space. It's exactly what the title says it is.
Cowboy Bebop with strippers.
You know, I mean, that's basically like if I were to give you a show comparison, that's basically what it is. It's Cowboy Bebop with strippers. You know, it's about a group of bounty hunters who also double as strippers who live on this planet called Planet Nubia. That's basically run entirely by this corrupt, evil crime syndicate group. And yeah, they're basically trying to put a stop to it because that group and conglomerate is basically trying to enslave the entire planet. So they're trying to put a stop to it. And that one's just super dope because I want that one to be like super stylized and like basically like I want that to feel like if Quentin Tarantino ever made an anime. Like with the way that I want to show and depict like the violence in there. You know. But like it's gonna be like space, so like instead of like red blood, it's gonna be like green or like purple or blue with like sparkles and shit. And like, oh man, it's gonna be visually crazy. And then Minx the Dream Warrior, like that show, I just think conceptually is just really, really cool, and visually that'll be something that's really, really stunning. Like that show, I really like. That's going to be the most ambitious visual project we have because so much of it has to do with dreams and the dream world. It's about this character named Minx. It's a non-binary person who has narcolepsy. And basically, they basically find themselves one day, they end up in like in this narcoleptic coma where they end up in the dream world. Their body ends up astral projecting and they end up going into this dream world and they find out about basically this whole other dimension that exists and how essentially like dreams are essentially another universe. And how everyone, when they go to sleep, essentially traverses this other universe, except, you know, they're allowed to come back. But because, you know, Nynx has narcolepsy, they're pretty much in between these worlds at all times. And because of this, it kind of makes them the perfect person to kind of stop what's happening. There is this big, like, demonic figure that is basically trying to plunge both worlds, both our world and the dream world, into total darkness. And Nynx is pretty much the only person who can traverse both worlds, who can, you know, essentially put a stop to it. And that show, again, like all the stuff that we're going to show with like the dreams and how Nynx enter different dreams, and we're going to use different art styles, and oh my god, it's just going to be so visually ambitious. So for all of these projects, it's like, man, there's just so much to love. Like I straight up did not answer your question. I can't.
No, that's completely fine. No, because like you said, there's so much to love about each and every one of them, and we're super excited to see, you know, your progress, not only with Captain Zero, but all these projects, you know, film, TV, you know, once this strike ends and everyone can finally eat, you know, we're excited to see,
oh my God, listen. Oh my God, listen. And honestly, man, I'm trying to like the way that I'm really trying to move after the strike moves is like I'm really trying to hit all of this shit back to back. Like in an ideal world, like it will be like, oh, this is announced, like Captain Zero just got picked up by X Network to do this, and then like 2 weeks later it's like Lamar has got this overall deal at this platform and like 4 other projects are gonna come out and it's this and this.
Right. 100%, man. 100%.
And then after all that, y'all gonna produce a white noise cartoon.
A Sammy cartoon.
A Sammy cartoon. Have you seen our logo?
I have. Oh yes. I have seen your logo. Yeah,
he's hella cute. Oh yeah, there he should be right there. Yeah, he hella cute. But
I mean, yo, listen, we've already got a really dope group of animators behind us who are gonna, do all of our proof of concepts that we're gonna put out next year for all of these projects. Because again, I mean, you know me, like I'm waiting for nobody. I'm not waiting until I get the call from the network to be like, yo, let's make this show. It's like, no, I'm getting together with my team. We're making proof of concepts just like we did with the short film, and we're putting it out and letting the world know, like, hey, this is a thing that exists. Because for me, like I'm super big on manifestation, but sometimes I feel like people often can do manifestation wrong when they feel like the only thing that you need to manifest is to just think really badly about how you want something. And for me, it's like I have to do more than just think really badly about how I want something. I have to then make it tangible, because if it is tangible, now it is real. Like the fact that the short film of Captain Zero exists tells you that a show will now exist of the show, because now there is a short preview that exists. You already see that this is something that has been put into the world. It's like this concept, this idea is now real. I've already stated and said that this is a prelude to what you can expect for the full-blown series. So now it is real. Absolutely. Even if you go to my Twitter right now, and like all of the shows that I just told you about, I just did the cover art drawing for all of them that we're going to use for the show deck. And it's like, now that all these cover arts exist of these characters, you can see what the characters look like. It's like, now it's real. Now there is a place in quantum space where this fully fleshed out idea now exists, solely because now there is a real tangible version of this that exists in the world. Absolutely. So I feel like the more and more I do that, the more and more I help all of these ideas that I have become real. It's how you turn,
absolutely,
fiction into reality. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Man, well, thank you for shedding so much light on. You hit so many different things, and it's just always interesting to see. And I also think, aside from it being interesting, it's important for anybody listening who has probably had an idea or who wants to be creative, or maybe even not. Maybe somebody who's just been in a rut and like just things aren't working out for them, and and they see just how much time and work and how really, and like we've also said this on the show in the past, is timing is everything. Where, sure, this took 8 years to get here, and really things have just been taken off in the past 2. But like, had you given up in those 6 years prior to that, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, things happen for a reason. Things happen how they're supposed to happen. And I think that you coming on here and just basically confirming that is huge for a lot of our listeners, and maybe even us ourselves. Definitely. We're all creatives in here, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I didn't graduate, film school in 2016 and then sat around and did nothing, because I am notorious for just getting smacked in the face with writer's block and just life in general. But it took time, and the time was last year when we started this show, and same thing with Josh. Josh was, been trying to be a filmmaker for a long time, and this year he finally got to be an extra in a movie. So that's a step towards making your dream a reality. Like, you exist, just like you said, you exist. He exists now in a film that's going to live forever, because it's a digital piece of art. Like, it's going to live forever, and yeah, it's up for here. So I mean, shout outs and thank you for coming on and
seriously
telling us your story and just we can't wait to see all the dope things that come out of this, man.
Absolutely,
for real.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for allowing me to come on here and tell my story and speak my truth and to tell you about all our upcoming projects. Like, man, I'm always so appreciative to any and everybody that wants to hear about the story. Like, there is no platform that is too small. Like, I'm here for the creatives, and when you guys first approached me and told me that you guys wanted me to come on, I don't turn down any opportunity where I can talk to other fellow artists and then again just possibly be able to give something that can inspire someone to keep going, to keep pushing through. Like, man, I went through some hard years where there were several points on this journey where I didn't think this would happen. There were several points in this journey where I almost threw in the towel. Like, there was a point in time where I, for 3 months, didn't do anything. Like, there was a point in time in 2018 was probably the darkest year for Captain Zero. At that time, we had almost gotten a deal from a specific network, and then a merger happened. And then all of the people that we were talking to who were our primary points of contacts, all of them had left. They went to different studios, different places and stuff like that. And typically what happens when most mergers happen is whatever new people come in, they basically wipe the slate of whoever was doing the work before because they're like, I don't want to pick up where that person left off. I want to do my own stuff. So we literally almost had a deal and everything fell through. And I was so ready. I thought my life was going to change. My business partner at the time, he had quit his job. It was,
oh man,
it was we really thought it was about to be life changing, up and stuck. And then everything just fell apart. And I remember that was the hardest 3 months of feeling bro, I don't think I can do this anymore. I've spent so much time. I've spent so much money. I've done all of this. I've tried everything. I don't know what else to do, but I didn't give up. I was no matter how long it takes, I just have to keep pushing. And again, even reminding myself of, you never know who's watching. Because all it takes is one. You could upload a video to YouTube and you only get 12 views, but that 11th view could be from the CEO of Sony. And then you get a random email. You never know. You never know. So it's just keep doing, keep working, keep putting that art out there. I tell all my artist friends this all the time. There's only one sin that you can commit as an artist, and that is to have a great talent and not share it with the world. Put your art out there. Put it out there. It doesn't matter how many likes it gets. It doesn't matter how many views it gets. Put that shit out there, man. Put it out there.
Hell yeah.
100%.
Hell yeah. Words of wisdom. Absolutely. Y'all take notes. Y'all take notes. All my lazy ass rapper friends take notes.
Goodness. Well, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Well, like we mentioned to you before the show started, every week we do put out a poll for our lovely listeners to interact with us. The listeners love it, especially since we introduced the anonymous feature. People like to, come in, they get a little brave and they come in and they respond. So this week we want, because I picked this question because we're on the topic of just creativity and being creative, right? And with you being creative, with you being a rapper or an artist or whatever, right, an actor, comes some haters, right? There's haters that anytime you do something good for yourself, people hate that shit, right? So I wanted to ask a question this week. What is the most hater shit someone has ever done to you? And the listeners have come forward. So the first listener submitted story is,
oh my goodness,
what is the most hater shit someone has ever done to you? This person said, I was beating my meat and my brother wanted me to give him a ride somewhere and I was refusing to do so. So he turned on my Bluetooth speaker and everybody was listening to the video I was watching. Bruh. And to make it even worse, I had it up for 10 seconds bass boosted.
Bro.
This is why this is what, yo, first and foremost, bro.
Just imagine here's some deep fried ass moans.
That is so
listening.
He said deep fried.
Listen to adult films with the bass boosted.
For real, let's ask the important questions here. Why was that shit bass boosted and how was that shit?
That shit was in fucking shockwave claps.
Fucking yo. Fam, you have spent entirely too much time, energy, resources into my G. Like you need to go outside and touch grass, my God.
Oh, dang.
But and then let's go back to this shithead brother, bro.
Right.
You're so mad. You're the bum that can't drive. Why are you mad at them for not wanting to give you a ride? He's stroking his shit.
Give me a few minutes.
On the shit, bro. Like,
hold on, man.
Hold on.
That ain't long enough.
oh shit. Next one.
That's crazy.
A listener, we asked, what's the most hater shit someone's ever done to you? This listener said, someone decided it was cute to act like me. Life story and all. It was annoying. Sometimes your haters be your fans. And that is true, my love. That is true. That shit is annoying. They say, a lot of people disagree with me. They say imitation is a form of flattery. I think that shit is mad annoying. I really do.
That don't make it not flattering, though.
It don't, but it's just why. Like, it is little shit. Like,
because it is like someone will take your type of humor and then use it and then put it out into the world when they fucking hate you. But it's just like, well, it gets laughs.
Yeah, that's true. Well, for me, it's annoying. Even like if I go somewhere, right? Let's say I go to, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. Like, I go to this one restaurant, right? And then all of a sudden, someone I know, they start going there. Like, all right, whatever. I'll go on vacation to this place. And then there they go. I'm like, bro, why are you watching me so hard, bro? Like, do your own shit, man.
You're an influencer.
No, I'm not. I ain't shit. And I want people need to know that before they make wrong decisions.
It sounds like someone who can't doesn't know more than what you're showing them. It's like, oh, Hawaii. I've never heard of Hawaii. I guess I'll go to Hawaii. Germany, I guess I'll go to Germany.
That's on them though. Why?
Exactly, but it's like, why don't you just look up different places? But it's like, oh, well, he went to. I'll go where he's going. That's the only place I could think of.
You don't got your own ideas. Like,
exactly,
you don't got your
like
own
that's the only
mind,
place
like,
I could think of because I saw it. I'll go there.
Like,
fuck
come
you,
on, bro. But
hey, what hotel did you stay at? Which room? What room number was it?
You were sniffing the pillowcase, like, oh yeah, he was here.
Yeah, that was.
No, but someone decided to act like them, like life story and all. That's creepy.
That's beyond.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, that's crazy.
That's some Lifetime movie mess right there. I don't know about that.
That's that Hallmark Channel,
right? Exactly.
White girl shit.
That's a single white female.
That's a single white female. I was just about to say, dude, that's that movie.
What movie?
Melissa
Single white
McCarthy.
female.
That's a movie.
Single white female.
Yeah,
that's a movie.
It's about a roommate. Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? That shit gas?
It's gas.
I think it's from the 80s, right?
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, dang.
Identity theft.
I was gonna say
Identity theft.
What's the next one, man? Let's see. I was buying a 3DS from a guy I knew in high school.
Cool.
When he found out I was fucking the girl he tried to get at multiple times, and she kept rejecting him. So he canceled the meetup to buy the 3DS,
of course,
and started talking shit about me.
Of course, yeah.
Damn,
I mean, like that.
You should have known that you wasn't gonna get that 3DS after,
for real.
After doing that, bro. Like,
yeah.
He'll get over her.
Damn, I mean,
in like 2 weeks. You still.
I mean, that is some hater shit. Though. I mean, it's just like
that is hater though. Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why people even go through things like that though. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand how you can like someone who don't like you. I can understand initially, like if you don't know, but the minute you know that someone doesn't like you, I don't understand how you then continue to fawn over this person. It's like, bro, like they don't want you, and moreover, like, fam, like. Slavery ended in 1804. Like, nobody owns people. Like, you can't.
Dead ass.
Right.
Like, you don't own anybody.
Right.
Like, people are allowed to make their own feeling, choice, and decision. If she doesn't like you, then all right, bro, move on.
Keep it stepping for real.
Also, stop thinking that people owe you a conversation or owe you a chance.
Yup.
Like, nobody owes you anything. Like,
I feel like as I got older and I just stopped keeping conversations going for the sake of keeping a conversation going, people get so uncomfortable with just not having any and I was like, bro, I could sit here and not feel awkward, but I could tell you're just like, so what'd you do? And I'm like, can we not talk about this ass shit?
I hate
do you really give a fuck what I did at work yesterday? No, you don't. Do you really care what the fuck I had for breakfast? Like, bro, who you fucking? Like, tell me something like interesting, you know? Like, I hate small talk.
Did you drink water today?
That ass.
No, I think it's important to remind people.
Man.
Oh, shut the fuck up! Hell no.
Man, what's the next bomb?
But that's
That's some bullshit, man.
I hate small.
I hate it so much. I hate it, and I hate it because you can tell when someone is making small talk because they ain't got shit to say. It's the most like deathless, contentless conversation, and I'm just like, bro, I would so much rather you.
Hey, they're
just
making an attempt though.
They are making an attempt.
I get it, but at
you
that
don't
point,
have
it's like
to,
you're running
man.
my words too much, and I don't even feel like talking for no reason now.
What if they have like social anxiety?
Okay, well, I get that, but at the same time, it's like,
Would you not be
why is that
talking
my problem to help you through that?
Well, what if they're just...
Well, but
I don't
you
know
can
that,
tell
though.
You can tell when it's something
I don't
else.
know that.
I can tell. I don't know about you. I can tell. I can tell when
I
it's
can
like,
tell when they're just like trying to talk to you, but they don't know how.
exactly. I'll make the effort then.
I'm socially awkward as fuck. If I don't know how to talk to somebody, I come off socially awkward. But if I got something going on with the person, I'm like, I could probably be alone with each one of y'all individually. But like, if I don't know you like that, it's gonna come out like that, and I'd rather just not talk.
Or I also hate too when two things. One, when people bring you into like make you a joke because they ain't got shit to say.
You do that shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say
No, I
you
don't.
do that all the
when
time.
the fuck do I do that?
You do that to everybody.
How?
You do that to everybody.
When I don't have shit to say?
I mean, well, you just be.
I mean, you always got something to say, but you
Call
do
me
that.
Never mind, bro.
Whoa!
No, hell no! Don't play with me. Do not play with me.
Nah,
Or also hate when I get dragged into a conversation. Like, I don't know why. I can't even tell you why people do this. And like an example would be like, I'm sitting on the couch. There's a conversation going on in the living room, right? I'm chilling though, hella quiet. Like I'm just chilling. I'm on my phone or I'm playing my Switch or something, right? And then like somebody will be talking, be like, "Oh yeah, we went to what was it called? Where did we just go? Disneyland? Yeah. We went to Disneyland, yeah. And yeah, we saw this, we did that, and then we ate this. It's like 3 circles. What's his name? Mickey Mouse? Like you fucking know. Like what are you asking me for? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I don't have to be a part of this conversation. Just leave me the fuck alone.
I feel that.
Well, you're a Disney adult.
I'm dead.
He's not. That's what he wants. Don't listen
Not
to
be,
him. That's what
not
he wants.
being a Disney doll allegation.
I beat those allegations in season 1. Isaac defended me. I've been beat those allegations.
It was like the first episode.
It was, yeah. It was, huh? It was the first episode. So this next one said, my friends told me that the girl I liked was into me for an hour, hyping me up, then said it was all made up because they wanted to see my reaction.
Yeah, I know.
That's
You gotta get a new group of friends.
Facts. Yep.
That is flaw. Oh my goodness, that is just. Why
that's
like
wild. That's wrong.
That's some mean 4th grader shit,
Right.
there.
That's
like,
man. Guess what, bro? I know you've been trying to holler at her, bro. She told me that she into you. Man.
Bro,
all right, cool.
That's
Nah, we just
fucked
playing
up.
with you. It's like,
Don't
do
come
that.
on.
Don't do that. For
That's
real.
fucked up.
That's wrong.
That is fucked up.
That's actually wrong. You don't play with people's emotions like that, for real.
Nah, not at all. This next one is previous job. I got fired because of something I did wrong, quote unquote. Later to find out that the team leader did some shit to get me fired because she was hating that my sibling was dating her sister-in-law. Take in mind, this team leader is a married person with 2 kids.
Why is that my problem?
Exactly.
What?
Also, you married with 2 kids. Why do you care what anybody
why you
else's
care?
relationship is doing, bro?
Man, get out of my face
Nosy
with that
ass
mess.
people, bro.
Get out of my face with that mess, man.
Nosy
You gonna fire
ass.
me because of what my brother is doing?
Or who his brother's doing.
Regardless, it's like that ain't got nothing to do with me, man. I'm up here reading my comic books, and you up here firing me because my brother.
No, because you're reading comic books on the clock.
Oh,
That's right. You got fired.
Shoot, man. What's the next thing,
The
man?
next one says, I don't know if this is considered hating on me, but in middle school, my quote-unquote best friend at the time told my crush's girlfriend that I liked her boyfriend, expecting drama to start. But nothing happened.
Yeah, that's hater.
That's
yeah.
some hater shit.
Yeah, that's
bro.
hater.
Why?
Yeah, that's a
100%.
hater.
That's
a
the
hater,
enemy
yeah.
of some hater shit, bro.
Oh yeah,
Why the fuck, man? These people got nothing to do.
they really don't.
Y'all hella bored.
Right.
Y'all need to be
Hella.
Right.
making art or something, man. That shit probably gonna suck though. This next one said, my baby daddy's now wife, but girlfriend back then smashed my windows to my car. Bro, insecurity in relationships that involve children are so
for real.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's wild.
You literally signed up for this.
You have to have a relationship.
Yes,
you have to,
man.
You
Come
have
on.
to.
That person will always be in your life.
At least they should be.
Always.
They should
there's
be. At
fucking
least
people who like to talk shit about the person they had a kid with. And it's like that's kind of like a reflection of you.
No, it really is. That's a red flag.
Because it's like, bro,
That's
did you
totally
not
a red
lie
flag.
with this person?
And then they'll talk shit about like
This was a choice that you made.
to the kid.
Yeah.
That's
Yo,
totally a
dad,
red
your
flag.
mom ain't shit. It's like, well, why the fuck do they need to know that?
Well, y'all was fucking.
They
so
ain't old enough to know
Right,
that.
so
yet.
it was
Let
something. Yeah.
Let them grow up and realize they parent ain't shit.
Dead ass.
Right.
Next one says, again, someone who ain't shit. Baby daddy doesn't not pay his effing child support. I, as a parent, can never imagine not wanting to care for my kid.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's
A
love that you don't explain. You can't explain it. It's just like the moment they are born, you love them.
It's like
in
my
a different
dad
way.
describes it as like you don't know what true love is until you get a kid. That's what my dad says.
It's true.
Yeah.
It really is true. Like there's just no words to explain it.
Yeah.
So for me to sit here and try to imagine a life where I don't want anything to do with her, or
crazy.
when I like, it doesn't matter where I am. Like I'm always thinking of getting her something, or like.
Right.
You know, like she needs clothes or whatever, then fuck me. I'd rather go hungry than to have her with, raggedy clothes, or have her go hungry or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, I don't see how that could be a thing. Like,
Unfortunately, I feel like what happens in a lot of those kinds of situations is that, like, it's the relationship between both of the parents that have eroded or wasn't in a good place. Where if it's the guy who's not paying the child support, he's in this very honestly immature position where he kind of feels like, oh, well, maybe he didn't want to have this child, but then ultimately the mother decided that she wanted to have the child, and he's like, oh, well, you already made a decision that I didn't want in the first place, so now I'm just going to abstain from being a father. But again, I mean, the reality is, like, okay, well, once the person who's holding the child makes the decision that they want to have the child, like, the time to think differently was before you came in that person.
Yeah,
we're way past that now. We're way past that. So it's like, now that this has happened, now that this is life, now that this child is going to be born, bro, like, step the fuck up. Do what you got to do. This is your child. And again, like you said, like, I don't see a world where I know that my offspring exists and I'm not doing anything and everything that I can to make sure that child is taken care of. Like, bro, fucking take care of your kids, dog.
Preach.
That's all that needs to be said.
Dead ass.
For real.
The deadest of asses. Yes.
Yes. Just simply yes.
Deceased gluteus maximus.
I'm still saying that shit. The most hater shit I can think of is back in the days when I would start dating a girl, instantly there were friends or guys that liked my girl that would start messaging her at the time negative things about me, or tell her to break up with me. Man, you a hater and a sorry ass.
What kind of friends you got, homie?
Bro, that's happened to me before.
That's happened to you.
I got two questions though. Like, one, my observation just based off of what's being said is, yeah, that sounds like a hater, but there's another part of me that also thinks,
I know what you're gonna
if
say.
every person in your life is trying to tell someone else who's trying to get into your life to avoid you, maybe there's something going on.
There might be something, dude. I hear you.
Maybe you need to take a long look at the person in the mirror. Like, what's going on here? Like, why do the people? Because I would argue, if this is friends and family, like, this isn't just people you met on the street and have known for a while. Like, this is your mother, this is your sister, this is your brother. Calling up this person to be like, hey, listen, you don't want to mess with. You don't want to mess with dude. Like, I'm like, hey, yo, there might be something going on there. You might need to
for real. Ain't that
do some reevaluating and see what's going on.
If your own mama tells somebody not to mess with, that's how you know you need to.
I've heard of that before.
It's the truth though.
I've heard of that too.
Because mamas, shout out to mamas, they
like,
keep
hey,
it real, but
listen,
they
you
love
seem like a smart young lady. You don't want this.
I love my little boy, but like no, he's a problem.
Oh fuck! I can't remember.
Though.
I can't remember who it was. It's probably for the better, but I can't remember who it was. that I heard that their mom told like the girl that they were dating was like, yeah, why you keep fucking with my son? I forgot who it was.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's some shit. But no, crazy. I mean, I also think like it could be random people too. Like, well, this person did say like it'd be friends or guys that liked my girl, like. You know, like,
okay, so it was some random.
It was random, yeah.
Okay, so some haters, yeah.
But no, I've had it to where I was talking to a girl before, and she had these friends or a friend in particular who, because at the time I was making music and like a lot of my lyrics were on some sad boy shit, and they would tell her like, "Hey, he ain't over this girl." And I'm like, bitch,
like come on,
come on,
so dead.
Yeah, like this fucking music, and I was like, but I ended up breaking it off with her because I'm like, well, look. If you're willing to listen to somebody who don't know me, tell you things about me, and you don't feel like you don't have to come to me and ask me, then I'm cool.
And tell me, then I'm ultimately,
cool.
Yeah.
And I was
that relationship probably doesn't have a lot of legs.
Yeah, and I've been cool ever since.
But it'd be interesting though if like that same person told your friends like, oh, this person has all these red flags and all that such, right? But then you try to, tell them against that, like, hey, yo, you should probably watch out for them then I feel like that's a weird dynamic too, though, because it's like, yo, how you gonna tell me this person ain't good for you, but then you gonna whatever? That's a whole different thing, though.
Yeah.
So shoot, man. Yeah, man, what's the next one?
But also, I mean, like that to go back to this person, like if your girl is listening to these people and ain't asking you about it,
that's true.
Then you dodged the bullet, my friend.
Facts.
Because if somebody tells me shit about somebody that I'm going out with, I'm gonna ask them about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, man, like I'm not saying I believe them. But I'm coming to you.
I just want your perspective.
Yeah. Like this is what I hear. Like, is it true? Is there any like where's all this coming from? Right. And I'm not saying that from a confrontational point. I just want to know like
where's this coming from?
Exactly. Like where's this all coming from? And because I trust you and I'm with you, I'm going to believe you, and I'm off the bat going to believe like, now this is probably some hater shit. People are nosy, this and that. Right.
And if they're cool, they'll keep it a buck with you too. Yeah. Like, and you know what? I was acting goofy in that situation, and then sometimes it's just as simple as that. And then you goof. Then it's like, oh, okay, but that was the past though, and so let's keep it pushing. Yeah. Either way, don't be a hater like that.
Don't be a hater.
Don't be a hater like that.
Yeah. So that was all for the user submitted ones.
Oh yeah.
So now it's our turn, man.
You go first, baby. I know you got a lot of haterisms in your life.
Nobody loves me, bro.
I love you.
Nobody loves me, bro.
Nobody loves you.
Well, look.
The universe loves you, bro.
Man, tell the universe to slide then because I need some love in my life.
That's crazy. Acting like you don't got a picture with you and your daughter having fun at Disneyland. That's crazy. Exactly.
So I remember, I'm not going to say this person's name because they are a pretty well-known rapper now. And they are known to sue people for shit they say online. So just know that
crazy.
So they got quick trigger fingers when it comes to that.
Yeah, they're pussies.
Man, okay.
So my god,
this was 2013.
50 Cent.
I drop an album. Right, and I'm sending it to people on Twitter. That's how I used to do back in the day. That's how Bill Hotty's just sending it, whatever, right? And back then, that was Twitter's wild days, where it's like anything went. Right?
Oh my god,
you weren't getting banned for nothing back then. So whatever, I sent it to this rapper. Not gonna say where they're from because they're from such an obscure place that like if I say it away, it's gonna give it away.
You'll know exactly.
I feel
so I send it to this rapper who lives. It's in Southern California somewhere, right? A lot of this person's fans, like I felt like we made similar-ish type of music. So like I send my shit, to people that they were following and all that, right? I sent it to them, right? To this rapper. And I was like, yo, like I just dropped, like I kind of rocked with his music at the time, right?
Right.
I kind of rocked with it, so I was like, yo, like I rock with your shit, like I just dropped, if you ever want to work or whatever, let me know, right? I know they seen it because they liked it and retweeted it.
Oh,
right?
Oh shit!
And cool. About 8 months later, they drop an album, and one of my beats is on that album. that they just dropped.
Oh shit!
Is it Chanel West Coast?
Not the bite.
The bite, man. And I was like, oh, come on, bro, right? Like, to be fair, I didn't exclusively own the beat. That was my bad.
Okay.
But you didn't even give me
But
no type of feedback.
Yeah,
You didn't
it
tell
needs
me.
to be like, hey, yo, I really like track 7. The beat is crazy. If you didn't buy that beat, I'm thinking of buying it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to buy it.
Right.
Something.
And it's
yeah,
crazy
that's-
because the timestamps are there. When you go to where the page where my shit is posted, it says when it was released. You go to this person's iTunes, look up that album, and it's released.
So
much
you got
later
all
than
the
mine.
receipts.
I got all the receipts, and then I went back, right? Because I'm like, I'm not tripping, right?
Right.
I can still see the tweet was liked, but they undid the retweet.
Oh wow.
Oh,
man.
that's nasty.
So
Man.
I mean,
That's nasty.
that's
Very
that's
nasty
how
behavior.
that's how the music
That is-
industry is, though.
Yeah.
It's just you really got to take care of yourself.
You really do, though.
But hey, you know what? That album did wonders. That album kind of changed my life a little bit at the time. So fuck it, we did what we did. But that was some hater shit, man. Like
Yeah,
how you just
absolutely.
steal somebody's shit. You know, and like
That's-
I
Don't even
always get
acknowledge
people
it.
talking about the technicalities of it. Like, well, you didn't own the beat. I'm like, yeah, but if you want to be a fucking grown up about it, like you
Yeah.
tell me, like, hey, I liked it or whatever. Like,
Just the principle of
Exactly,
things.
like,
yeah.
just-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, like I saw it wasn't purchased. I bought it. Like, you know, just wanted to say, like, yo, thank you for putting me on. Like, if I never came across this album, I probably would have never heard this beat.
exactly,
So,
like, something,
right.
dude.
You
Like,
know?
come on, man.
Right.
Because I've done that
Yeah, that's
before.
odd.
When I first started out, I didn't know nothing about leasing beats or buying beats, and so I would like reach out to like producers or artists and be like, "Hey, I heard this song. I know you produced it, or I really like it. Like, would you mind if I used the beat and just rapped on it for free? Like, I'm not gonna sell it or nothing." And more often than not, like it would.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and then like with the rise of SoundCloud, I just started doing it because fuck it, right? It's just
Right.
SoundCloud, right? I wouldn't do it for like I wouldn't remix somebody's shit and put it on Apple right now, right?
Right.
But like some SoundCloud, you could do whatever you wanted, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was some shit that happened to me, man. Some hater shit.
That
Man.
is
That's some hater
ugly.
shit. What about you, Isaac? What's some hater shit somebody's done to you?
Kind of like the dude saying like, when I started going out with Stacy, I had like a bunch of people I did and didn't know, someone that I went to middle school with. Neither one of them even fucking knew me like that, but they'd always be like, oh damn, well Isaac this and that. I'm like, bro, I don't even know your last name.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are you? And they would just tell her all this shit, like, oh, he used to do this, and like he used to talk to this girl and he did this, and I'm like, I
Used
fucking
to.
wish I had that much action shit to go off of, but like, all
Wow.
this like, type of hater shit. Another thing is I feel like whenever I get like real close to somebody, like I have a connection with somebody, I feel like there's always people that don't like how easy it was for there to be a connection. So it's almost like they'll, and I know this is a thing because it's been proven to me. It's like they'll start talking shit to the person that I'm cool with, almost like hella easy, just so they look better, you know. And it's kind of like, oh well, you're a better person than that guy. Let me and I've had that happen where I've had it like, because I've seen like the shift, you know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, okay. And then I've had people say, well, he said this and that. I'm like, well, if they gonna believe that just off of that fucking motherfucker, then good riddance, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that's some hater shit. It's like, bro, I'm
Be
like
yourself.
I'm so unapologetically myself when it comes to like meeting people and like, because that's how the connection's that's what's gonna run off of.
Yeah.
And so when they see it, it's kind of like, oh well, you guys are real. Oh, he beats up kids. It's like, I don't, but for sure. Or like he'll just say so. It's like, I don't deny everything that's ever been said. It's like, why say it? I could say some shit about you, but I don't, because you're already a fucking horrible person as it is.
Why?
You know?
We
Like,
already know that you're a shitty person.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Like
great.
I think people underestimate too, like loyalty and how loyal people are to someone. Like,
Yeah.
I've
Well,
had it
the
countless of
the
times.
boundaries of loyalty too.
Yeah, like anytime my name is brought up in a text thread or something, that I get told about it. I know, because I reciprocate that energy. Like, if someone's saying some shit about my homie, I'm gonna fucking tell him like, hey, don't fuck with this person no more, right? Like,
yeah,
the dude that we were gonna hire for when we were trying to make the Men of Dry Creek, talking mad shit about one of my homies. I had to cut him, bro. Like, I stopped hitting him up to come to the table reads and all that because why do I want you there? Like, you telling me you want me to remake a whole short film without my boy just because he's in it? You don't fuck with him.
You're right. That's good.
First of all, I'm the fucking director. Like, you do what I say. To start with, you know. Like, that was some hater shit, you know, or like, for real. Like, I feel like everybody in this room knows how loyal I am to them, and like I know that y'all are loyal to me. So it's like, you bring up my name in a text or in an email, whatever, I'm gonna hear about it. I don't say shit because I'm not 12, but like,
my thing is like, I don't mind talking shit. I don't mind shit being talked to me. And I can take a lot of shit. I can hear a lot of shit. But when I deliver it back, as people are like,
exactly.
Yeah.
People can never deal with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I tell you guys each separate shit. So if something leaks, I know who it is.
It's also hard to tell if you're being honest with someone or you're dead ass just put it in a dick ass way.
Yeah.
It's hard to be like, oh, I was a dick. I mean, I was honest, but like, I didn't need to say that. And sometimes it's like, you need to hear that. You're fucking annoying me. You're being annoying right now or some shit, you know?
Yeah. What's about you, Josh? Like, what's some haterisms in your life, man?
Just like a quick one came to the top of my head. I guess word got out that I was talking to this girl, and then this dude comes up and he's like,
I'm sorry, because we got the same dude. I already know who you talking about. You didn't even need to complete the sentence. I'm like, oh my god.
He's like,
I'm sorry, man. It's hilarious.
oh, I heard you like blah blah.
No way, Clutter fucks with the
I didn't say no name. I didn't say no name.
Fuck Clutter, he's a piece of
He
shit.
was like,
Come on, if people could change.
this
man.
person was like,
People could change.
I heard you like blah blah blah, and I'm like, where'd you hear that? He's like, just around. I heard you think she likes you too.
What
I'm like, what? This is the first I've heard of it. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm here to like, I just want to let you know I'm looking out for you. She doesn't. I was like, oh, okay. Let alone we had been dating for like over He's like, what?
Oh man, meanwhile, God,
this little fucking beanbag is just a thorn in everybody's side.
gosh, the main antagonist. Hey,
He-
people can
he
change
is.
though, man.
He's the main villain of this show. He's never even been on this show. He's just fucking.
Hey.
Okay, so
I'm
some
not saying it's
background.
him. I'm not saying it's him.
No,
but
it is him. That voice tells me everything. So just to give you some context, Lamard, so me, Josh, and Kyrie, and Nick, who's not here today, we all worked together at this movie theater for years. So that's how we all know each other. And then me, Isaac, and Nano, the other person who's not on today, we're related. We're cousins. Well, Isaac is me and Nano's uncle.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this guy that Josh just talked about he's talked about a lot on this show because he's such a shitty person, and but it's just in the most comedic of ways. Like, he's just like a Z-list villain. Like, he's just
A Z-list villain.
he's like the box ghost from Danny Phantom. Like, he's just
my
zero
gosh.
matters of anything.
That's wrong.
That's the name of the episode, bro.
The box goes featuring Captain Zero.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. You know, that guy is a hater for sure. Go ahead, Kyrie. What did he do to you?
I mean, just the first and foremost, man. Like, I know this probably isn't technically being a hater, but like, this is just kind of something that I use as motivation. So in my mind, it is kind of hatering. It's like, you know, y'all know I got King's Comics going on. You know, like, you know, we got the podcast, everything's booming, right? To me, it's kind of like, especially for homies, right, who, you know, like really, really know me, like, especially them. But it's like, yo, if you knew I got all this going on, and, you know, at least hit a brother up about it, ask me about it, or at least support.
Be like that.
To me, that comes off as a form of haterism. Especially if I ain't trying to call nobody out. But especially it's like, oh man, I just haven't had time because I forget or da 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 da. To me, it's like, I mean, it's cool. It's been a year, but like, you know, like that's
it's
all
been
right.
a year.
It's been a year, but that's all good. So I mean, to me, once again, I don't know if that's technically hatering, but like, it's still, to me, I just use that as motivation. Like, to my mind, I use it as like, you're just being a hater because it just keeps me like, it keeps me going, you know, like it just keeps me like, okay, now the grind got to continue until you have no choice but to say my name in your mouth.
Damn,
I'm just keeping it a buck. But but speaking of our favorite Z-list villain, as you like to call him,
the Fox Ghost.
I kind of clump him within like this whole sort of like hater thing. It's like whenever I'm like talking to a girl or like, you know, going out with them, right? There have been people in the past that's like, oh man, like, you know, you're not her type or this or that, and it's like,
how the fuck would you
it's
know
like,
that,
all right,
bro?
bet.
Like,
and I promise you, every time someone says that,
you hella fine. You everybody's type.
oh, thank you, baby. Like, I for real,
That's how I carry myself.
Right.
I'm everybody's type. I'm the exception to every.
Exactly, man. Like, shoot, I use that
Unless
as
you
like,
unless you just don't like fun or cool.
exactly, right? Unless you just want to be just miserable all the time, that's cool too. But you know, hey, but
I'm miserable. I might be their type shit.
but shoot, you might. But anytime someone says that, I for real use that as motivation towards that situation too. And then like, I'm not trying to like, you know, say I'm like suavecito or nothing, but like, shoot, it's like, how's that worked out ever since, you know, especially our favorite Z-list villain twice.
I saw it first.
Oh my gosh, literally one of my exes from this previous job, he literally said that to me, like, oh, you knew I liked her first, you knew, and it's like, okay, cool, but we're going out, so it's like, what, like, what, like, and then with
like a dip system,
exactly, or like the past, situation, when we first started going out, I remember it was like maybe a couple days after we became official, right? After we became official, right? My dude said, like, come on, bro. Like, after we became official, a couple days after the fact, he heard it through the grapevine through somebody, like, and I remember I was walking in concessions and someone's like, oh snap, how are you, and such and such. He turns around in the most drastic way to look at me. It was about to cry. I'm like, oh, bro, I was gonna tell you. And then he just storms out of concessions. I'm like, no. Like,
he was a manager. Should have brought him up for leaving.
Oh no, he wasn't a manager at that time.
He fucking runs away like, my grandma will give me that check.
No, because he felt like, because once again he was like, oh, you're not her type, you're not da, 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 da. But yet we dated for 6 years, so it's like,
there, you must not be her type.
But I'm not her type though.
Nah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so
deep, sexy voices ain't her type. Huh? Come on, baby.
She learned real quick that. Come on, baby. Oh,
all right, and then.
Oh yeah, but Lamard, what is the most haterism thing that's happened to you? I know there's some haters coming after you, baby.
The most hater, man. I want to say, in general, I'm pretty fortunate to not to have that many people, wanting to hate, unless they just have, again, like, unless you're just someone who just has a malicious part. I want to say, for the most part, like, even with people that don't get along with me, I feel like I avoid a lot of people hating too bad, because it's like, how could you hate me? Because I don't hate you. Like, I don't hate anybody. Like, I don't do any malice to anybody. Like, we might not necessarily see eye to eye, or we might get into a position where it's like, hey, this relationship is no longer, mutually beneficial.
But we don't need to be enemies.
We need to be enemies. Well, I think the most hater shit that has ever happened to me is actually a career-related thing. And I low-key, this is something that is like, I'm trying so hard not to be a petty person. But this is something that I know when I finally have this moment, it'll be like in your face kind of moment.
Oh, yeah.
But this is back in 2017-18, around that time, and I told you we were, trying to close that one deal. I was working with this particular agent who represented this particular actor. I won't say their names.
So I know you want to be petty so bad right now. That's all
but
right.
This guy, he was a real big internet guy. And at the time, again, I had realized that attachments to the project were going to be something that would help us get the show, on the road. And I was looking to attach this guy Xerxes, and he had an agent, and his agent and I were pretty much working closely together to like further develop Captain Zero, and then try to get it out to networks and stuff like that. Basically, we were working with these people for almost like 8 months, and it was constantly like, hey, like change this, like do this or change this or like make this like this, and it was just back and forth, changes. And the whole reason why we made that partnership is like, hey, you're supposed to help get me into these rooms so I can start talking to these people and do this pitch. Obviously, I know you want this pitch deck to be up to a certain quality, so it really makes an impression when we start talking to these people. But like, we have essentially been working for months and months and months just doing that, and I have yet to be in on a single call with any of these networks and platforms and stuff like that. So I remember I sent an email, a very strongly worded email. It wasn't mean or anything like that, but it was just basically like, yo, like, we've been at this for a while, and there's a particular kind of progress that I'd like to make. I started working with you off of the premise that I would be able to make a certain kind of progress. So I just want to be able to do that. The following day, I get a message from this agent, and she says, so hey, I took your project out to shop it to all of the networks that we wanted to meet with, and every single one of them passed. They all said that, and I quote, there is just no market for a show like this.
What the hell?
Like, those words will forever be burned like into my brain. And again, she was talking about Captain Zero when she said this. This was back in 2017, 2018. I will never forget the words of her saying, there just isn't a market for a show like this. And I remember, and then after she said that, she was like, and yeah, because of that, the actor would like to gracefully bow out of the role. In the future, maybe we can work together again. Long business termy way of basically saying like, hey, our lead actor is out.
Yeah.
And
bet. Cool. Bet.
At first, when I first heard this, at first I was just really devastated at being like, oh my God, like what? Like every single network that you talked to passed. But then as more time went on, I realized, oh, this lady lied. She fucking lied. She lied. There is no way in one day you, with the level of, agent she was at, because I mean, let's be clear, it's not like she was, rep by one of the top 10 agencies or one of an agent that was actively working, So I was like, first of all, and now I also know from the experience that I have with my agent, who's an amazing agent, wonderful. And we've been out to several networks. I was like, there is no way you heard back from every platform in one day. Impossible. That did not happen, which means, yo, you lied to me. You lied to me. You didn't like the fact that I pressed you about the fact that we've just essentially just been running around in circles, and I've been doing all this work with no real progress to show for it. I called you out on it, and when I did, you didn't like that. So you told me the actor bowed out, and you fed me some cap about how there's no market for my show and how every network passed on this project.
I bet.
It's a goddamn lie. It's a lie. A blatant lie.
It's like, watch this. Yeah, for real. I'll use that as motivation too. Like, okay, cool. So yeah, initially I was real hurt by it, but over time, once I realized, like, wait a minute, that's a lie. There's no way that could have happened. No way.
Like that shit just became motivation. That shit literally just became motivation to me. And every single time I made a progress or an advancement, every single time a new actor would read a script and tell me how much they loved it, or I met with a network and they would gush about what they felt about the show deck or the artwork and all that kind of stuff. Now, any single time that happens, the first thing that pops into my head is like, there's just no market for a show like that.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's a lie.
Exactly. Come on,
it's a total lie.
Come on, baby. That's what I'm
but
talking about.
that was probably the most hater shit ever. It was like, you didn't like the fact that I called you out on your poor business acumen, so instead you decided to try to make me suffer for it. And again, looking back in hindsight, I'm actually really glad that happened, because the actor that I was trying to attach to the project, in all reality, like, I mean, I think he's a decent actor, like decent. But the reality is, him as a person,
oh shit!
I think at that point in time, I was just really, really, honestly desperate to just get anybody with a name. And at that time, I didn't realize how desperate I was. And it would only be later on that I saw this interview with Ava DuVernay where she gave some really, really great advice about being an artist and being in a creative space, where she talked about the stinky code of desperation. And basically, it's how a lot of young up-and-coming artists, they fool themselves into believing someone else has the key to their destiny. And if they can just meet the right person, if they can just get to the right upper level person, that'll be the person who's able to unlock all of their dreams. And they put all their eggs into their basket, like, oh, specific agent, oh, specific actor, specific network platform. You're going to be the person who helps me achieve my dreams. You're going to be the thing that helps me get what I want. And the reality is that's not the case.
Yeah.
And every single person who does that, what they don't realize that they're doing is all the people that you're meeting to, that you're talking to, who actually might be in some position to help you, automatically doesn't want to work with you because you have the stinky coat of desperation on. Mm-hmm. You are so desperate that you don't even realize that you're not coming off as someone who is eager or collaborative or is passionate. You come off as someone who is desperate, who will do anything and everything just for a look. And it doesn't entice people who have power or positions of access to actually be able to want to work with you, because the fear is you believe that they're going to be the person that helps unlock all of these things for you, when the reality is the only person who has the key to your future, to your fate, to your destiny is you. Only you have the power to create and make the things that you want. And the reality is you will never get to that place of rubbing shoulders with all the people that you admire with, like fawning after these people.
Yeah.
It is only through hard work and dedication of you focusing on your own craft will those people eventually find you. Like, it took me a very long time to realize what people meant when they said the phrase, "I'll see you at the top." I used to never understand really what that meant. At first, I kind of always felt that it was arrogant. It was like, if you're a person who has this access or this privilege, like, why don't you just like reach down and help this person who's beneath you? And the reason is because if you do that, as someone who actually does have those leverages and powers and resources, that person will go into that situation with so much entitlement and so much belief that you are the person who has the ability to get their dreams off, that you will never be able to develop the skills or tools that you need to actually be a good filmmaker, a good artist, a good creative, because you will solely lean on that person who you believe is going to do all the things for you. And the reality is nobody knows or understands your vision more than you do. There isn't an executive, a distributor, a production company that can tell your story, that can do what you as an artist need to do. And when you try to do that, when you try to force it, the only thing you do is come off as desperate. And and again, all of the wearers of the stinky coat of desperation, they can never smell it themselves. They're never self-aware enough to realize that they're wearing it. Yeah. But in that moment, I realized that I had that stinky coat of desperation on. I was so desperate to just get any attachment that I was willing to take this person who, in all actuality, as a person, as a human being, it's not that great.
Yeah.
It's not that great.
Yeah.
But I was just so gung-ho about, I need a name, and people know this name, that I was, willing to put all of my eggs into that basket, only to realize, that was never going to work. And then only to, surprise, a few years later down the line, continuing to work on my project, continuing to build on it, only to realize nobody could have ever done the voice of Xerxes other than me. Because that story, that live life experience was always my voice. Yeah. I was always the person that was made to tell that story. Nobody else could have.
Right.
And it took time to realize that. And again, surprise, funny enough, it was only when I made that decision, it was only when I made the choice to voice Xerxes, then I run into Angelica. Then I run into her agent, who's so blown away from my performance that she signs me to be represented by her. Now I'm taking gigs, I'm doing auditions, while simultaneously also working on my show.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's like, it was the belief in self that made others believe in me. But when I put all of my belief in others, the only thing that made me look like was desperate. And that's exactly what I was at that point in time. You know? So again, even though that person or that agent were being supreme level haters, I'm actually really thankful. I'm thankful for that situation because it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about business. It taught me a lot about the people I want to work with, but also taught me a lot about myself. Right. It taught me so much about myself and what I needed. And what I look back at that situation and realize is that, like, I was green. I was very, very new. I was very, very naive to a lot of these practices. I didn't know how shit went down. I didn't know how things were supposed to go. I had an idea about how I felt like it was supposed to go. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to meet this person. And in 3 months, I'm going to have a show and I'm going to have a deal. And no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. On average, the soonest it takes to close a development deal to eventually go into production for a television show is 6 months. That's short. That's the short end of the 6 months. Like, at that point in time, again, I thought like it would be like a month, a couple of weeks, and then boom, I'm off to the races. And was like, no, I had no idea. Right. I needed the time. I needed the experience. I needed, you know, in a weird way, I needed an assholey kind of experience of somebody doing me like that to realize, oh shit, like, my mind is not in the right place. I'm putting my eggs in the wrong basket. I'm out here thinking that other people are going to give me what I need. No, only I can give myself what I need. Only I can do that for myself. And the minute I did that, everything else fell right into place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah. So what did we learn today, kids?
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And be yourself.
Be yourself. The keys to life, babies. Well, before we sign off, Lamard, please tell the people where they can find you and where they can find all your work at.
Oh, yeah.
You can find me on all social media platforms at Lamard Cher-Aime. That is LAMARDCHERAIME. You can keep up to date with Captain Zero on all social media platforms at Captain Zero TAS. That stands for The Animated Series. On all social media platforms. I'm the most active on Twitter. So if you want to get, you know, day-to-day updates, see what I'm going on, see what I'm thinking in my brain, or just see what's going on with the show or the other projects we got, Twitter is definitely the place to be. Lastly, I do want to say to any of the viewers that are watching right now, as you know, we are currently in a writer's strike right now. Writers are seeking fair and equitable pay for their work. I dropped a link here inside the chat. It's for the Entertainment Community Fund. It's basically right now, writers are essentially out of work. And there's a lot of lower level writers who, you know, who aren't having any income coming in, and this is a great place where people can go to donate to help make sure that people can, you know, put some food on their table and pay their rent in the meantime while they're trying to figure all of this stuff out. So I dropped that link there inside like the chat. If you guys could share that would be super, super helpful to help out all my writing peeps out there. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for having me on. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys so much. It was a pleasure.
Oh,
thank you, Lamar. This was dope. Seriously, man.
So many gems in this episode. I think this episode, if anybody's a creative in any type of way, you need to listen to this just to see like the real life process and how long things take. And, you know, like, things take a while, but you know, the payoff is worth it at the end. And you have to go through some shit to appreciate the success. And when things do fall into place, so, you know, everybody has a journey to look back on. And so I think it's super dope that, you know, we got to see that. And of course, we'll throw in not only your social links into, you know, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but also on YouTube. And also we'll throw in that link so everybody can go donate to these writers who are out of work right now. And if you feel like this doesn't affect you, well, guess what, motherfucker? It does. It does. Because
it will.
It already is. I mean, huge movies like Blade and Stranger Things, the new season, and Euphoria, all those are delayed right now because of everything. The strike and everything. And also, maybe whatever you watch, maybe those writers aren't on strike, but guess what? There are tons and tons of actors and celebrities and producers who are in support of this strike that are not going to be working. So I suggest we all spread the word, and we, you know, if you can and are able to, go ahead and donate to, you know, help keep these people, you know, they have no income right now. So make sure that we're supporting each other, especially if you're creative, man. We're supposed to support each other. We never do, but we are supposed to. And you know, once again, like I say every week, baby, follow us on Instagram at Visual House Studios. Follow us on TikTok at Visual House Studios. Go to YouTube. There's this white bar right there. Click on it and type in Visual House Studios. And subscribe. You know, and check out. You know, not only this episode. Well, obviously, if you're listening, you already checked out this episode. Shout outs. I love you. Your mom did a good job. But also check out all the previous episodes. This is episode 46?
Something like that.
It's crazy. There's so many episodes for y'all to check out. And don't forget to also click the link that we're gonna leave in all the episodes. In this episode to go check out Lamard's work. And make sure if you can donate to that link. If you can't, just share it. Somebody will. Let's spread the word. Show some love to your writers. And yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you taking your time out of your day because we're sure you're super busy.
Oh man, listen, anything for the creators, man. Anything for the creators. I am for the people. There's one thing you need to know about me. It is that, man. I'm always down to do work with my community, and again, just like reach out to any and all artists. And I'm also very, very big on just like giving game, sharing the knowledge. Like if I knew all of the stuff that I learned in the last 4 years of being a filmmaker, it probably would have taken me 3 years to get to this point right now, you know. So it's like if there's any advice, information that I can disseminate to help somebody, you know, expedite that process, you know, skip a couple of steps that I had to learn the hard way, I want to do that. So thank you for giving me the platform to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
No, thank you for coming on. For real, we appreciate it. We appreciate anytime someone comes on to hang out with a bunch of scrubs like us. All right, well, once again, thank you, everybody. Make sure you check out Lamard's work, and spread the word. Don't be a hater, don't be a little hoe, and we love y'all.
See y'all next week.
Yeah, we love y'all. Peace.